they'll know the people better. But
this is why he's
to
the
do
president.
The best job they can. When we have good people, that's precious. That's very important. And we want them to keep the good people. And so we're going to be watching them. And Elon and the group are going to be watching them. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting.
So there's going to be a cut no matter what.
Elon Musk have been moving too quickly?
No,
too fast.
I think they've done an amazing job. They've done an amazing job, and look at what they found. I read it the other night in the speech. They found these things where billions of dollars has been poured down the drain.
They need to give that money to me.
That's not about people. That's about contracts where billions and billions of dollars was just thrown out the window. It probably got kickbacks. I'm sure there were tremendous kickbacks for the people that authorized those contracts. But no, Elon has been really teaching everybody about
the transgender mice.
The numbers that you can do. But what I want is I want the numbers, but I also want to keep.
I think that's good research.
We want to get rid of the people that aren't working, that aren't showing up.
Hot take.
Have a lot of problems, and so they're working together with Elon. And I think we're doing a really great job. We're cutting it down. We have to for the sake of our country. You can't have that kind of fat. It's bloated. And like nobody's ever seen before. Where you need 20,000 and they have 120,000.
That's a lot.
And you just don't need that many. And it happens with companies and it happens with governments, I guess. You could go to a lot of governments, you see the same thing. But we're trying to get it down. We want to be able, next year we could balance the budget. I think there's a good chance we could balance the budget next year. We have a lot of good things happening. Plus we have a lot of revenue things happening, like
the gold card.
Shipbuilding.
What about the gold card?
This gentleman behind me is going to create a lot of jobs. And it's about the biggest there is in the world. We had the biggest chip maker in the world here.
I remember that guy. That guy was
nice.
nice.
Ago. He's going to be spending $200 billion on building plants. We're not giving him any money to build it. It's not, that chip act is ridiculous, where the Biden thing, where they give billions of dollars to people that have nothing but money. They're not going to spend that money. They're just taking that money. We're giving nothing. They're coming in because of the tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs.
Готово применить это заклинание. Надо подождать. Подойти ближе. Я пока не могу использовать эту способность. Не могу достать. Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание. Надо подождать. Я не готова применить это заклинание.
We're not looking at that. No, we're not looking at that. No.
The best lumber, that's crazy.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
1,000 Ukrainians?
Or GPS. Well, we're not looking to hurt anybody, and we're certainly not looking to hurt them. And I'm looking at that, and there were some people that think that's a problem. And I'll be making a decision pretty soon. Okay? We're not looking to hurt, especially Ukrainians. They've gone through a lot. Yeah, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready? So, this is the easiest one of all, but it's a 50-50 issue. And if something's a 50-50 issue, it's hard to get excited about it. I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. And it's very much, it's a little bit one way, but it's very much a 50-50 issue. And it's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even. And usually I find when that's the case, what else do we have?
And I gotta ask, because we were talking about this here, going to the rest, we were talking about
Не могу произнести это заклинание.
Yeah, well, and the second one with all of the cell phones. I want to find the answers I told them.
That's a good question.
Today I said, I want to find, we can no longer blame Biden for that one.
Can they put
She
tariffs on the
released that a
sun?
long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and
Oh, that's already
I
planned.
believe I'll be releasing. I want to release the report. A lot of people
Stupid
have asked that question. You had one who had
So true.
3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly. And
What does
who
that
has
mean?
The biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about?
What about the
It's
Epstein report?
You know,
Yeah,
the law
true.
firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones, and I don't have 6 cell phones.
Я не могу применить это
I have 6
заклинание.
cell phones, so we're going to
I
be
know why.
releasing a report on that soon.
How many of you guys know why?
the lack of information and the data points that you get.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why.
It makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that wouldn't report on it, they didn't want to
One
say
for each
why.
girlfriend?
I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, you know, and by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some
Yeah.
strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. There's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of
Yeah, you don't know.
my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Not only obviously that will be
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Macron yesterday said that France was ready to
Я
offer its
больше не
nuclear
унесу.
protection to other European countries. What do you make of it? And in this case, would the US also maintain a nuclear umbrella for European countries?
Well, France is also willing to put soldiers into Ukraine for safety reasons if we can get it. I will say that we've made a lot of progress with Ukraine and a lot of progress with
Применить это заклинание.
I'll believe it when I see it.
so we don't have to talk that way about nuclear.
Надо подождать.
Everybody would get rid of their nuclear weapons. And we have Russia and us have by far the most. China will have an equal amount within 4 or 5 years.
Я пока не могу
And it would
произнести
be great
это
if we could all
заклинание.
denuclearize. Because the power of nuclear weapons is
Не сейчас.
crazy.
Crazy.
And I was very far along the process with Russia.
True.
Despite the Russian
It's great. Wow.
It was a total hoax. Total rigged hoax.
Oh,
by
yeah.
Some bad people.
Which
But
one?
Despite that, I was very close to having a program with Russia, denuclearization, and we are going to get China. I spoke to President Xi about it. And he would have been very happy to have gone along with it.
Yeah, I bet they probably would, actually.
Bad things happened, like an election was rigged.
Which one?
And week, so we had to come back 4 years
Я не
later. But
готова
I would very
применить
much
это
like to start those
заклинание.
talks. The opposite of what you say, the
Jesus.
denuclearization would be incredible.
That's bad.
President, on the auto tariffs that you were talking about, I know yesterday you spoke with the big three. Did you tell them that no more exemptions were on the way, and what was the
I
reaction?
told them, that's it. This was a short-term
That's it.
deal. And they came back to me yesterday. They said, could we have some help on the tariffs because of the speed? And I said, look, I'm going to do it, but that's it. Don't come back to me after the April 2nd. I don't want to hear from you after April 2nd. We're not going to be doing it anymore. I want to help them.
What was their response?
They didn't complain, but I helped them short-term during this short-term transition. April 2nd is going to be a very big day for America.
Mr. President. My understanding is that the longstanding U.S. policy is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. So
Yeah.
how did you come to the decision to send somebody from your team to negotiate with Hamas?
We are having discussions with Hamas. We are helping Israel in those discussions because we're talking about
Надо подождать.
Israeli hostages.
Слишком далеко.
We're not doing anything in terms of Hamas. We're not giving cash. We're not giving $6 million like you hear other administrations give. In fact,
Which one?
I got 59 hostages out, and we gave nothing. In 59, we gave nothing.
Yeah.
Not including what's going on with
Which
Hamas.
one?
I mean, I consider that something where we're helping Israel for the most part. We had a couple of hostages, as you know. We got a couple of
Не могу
hostages out,
достать.
American hostages.
Mr. President,
But certainly, Peter, you know, you have to negotiate. There's a difference between negotiating and paying.
Я пока не могу
We want to
произнести
get these
это
people out. If you would
заклинание.
have seen the people yesterday, maybe you did, I don't know, but if you would have seen them, the way they spoke about their captivity, it was unbelievable. It was terrible.
are you thinking about making any changes to NATO where a NATO country gets attacked, but they're not paying enough dues, so the United States doesn't?
So we just don't.
Well, I've said that to them. I said,
Fuck
if you're
'em.
not going to pay, we're not going to defend. I said that 7 years ago. And because of that, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if
They
you're
should
not
give
going
us
to pay
the
your
money.
bills, we're not going to defend you. And it also went for the attack. But if they got attacked, they said, well, does that mean you won't defend us? I said, are you current or are you delinquent? They said, if we were delinquent, would you? I said, nope, I would not. And because
Damn.
of that, as you know, hundreds of billions of dollars came into NATO. You wouldn't have NATO right now
No.
if I weren't there. And your previous Secretary General has said that. He said he's never seen anything like it. When I came to NATO, when I first had my first meeting, I noticed that people weren't paying their bills at all.
Why'd that
And
happen?
I said I should wait till my second meeting, and I did. And I brought that up. And I said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate. We're not going to protect you. And when I said that, as soon as I said that, it was amazing how the money came in. The money came in, and now they have money. But even now, it's not enough.
What are the
It's
odds?
Really not enough. They should be paying more.
Mr. President, question
crazy.
on
How does that
investments, sir.
happen?
You've overseen about $2 trillion worth of domestic private sector investments come in just about 2 months.
Yeah.
This is the newest one. It comes after your announcement of a new shipbuilding office at the White House during your joint session to Congress. Can you talk about why this is important not only for national security, but to continue the renaissance of domestic
It's a big ship
manufacturing?
situation.
Well, we have to maintain a strong country. We have to maintain, and we want to pay off debt. We have a lot of debt, but that'll start coming off quickly when this all comes around. Look, we've been
Yep.
supporting the whole world. You mentioned NATO and you mentioned other things. We've been supporting the whole world. When I first came in, we were paying almost 100% of NATO. NATO
Сначала нужно
was crazy.
выбрать цель.
We were supporting NATO. We were paying
Мне
the
нужна
bills
цель.
of other countries. And yet those
меня
same
нет
countries,
цели.
mostly European, the European countries were
Сначала
ripping us
нужно
off
выбрать цель.
in trade. And they won't take our
Мне
cars, they
нужна
wouldn't
цель.
take our agriculture,
Oh, my
they
God.
wouldn't take anything. Yet
Why
we
would
were
y'all
taking
do
their
that?
cars by the millions.
Why would y'all do
Надо
this?
подождать.
BMW, Volkswagen, all
Использовать эту
we were
способность.
taking their cars, they weren't taking. We were taking their farm products. They
Ours
weren't
suck?
It's a total ripoff.
No.
Пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
You know, that adds
Idiot.
up to a bad number at the end of a lot of years, and that's what happened.
Я
And
не
now it's
готова
time
применить
for this
это
country to stop
заклинание.
being ripped off. I had that done very much in the first administration, but then we had to focus on other things at the very end with COVID. And, but we had the greatest economy in history. We had the greatest economy in history. I think we're going to redo it here, but even better. And I wanted to do what we're doing now in the first term, but we had so many other things to do. We had to fix the border, which we did. We had to fix our military. We rebuilt our military. We completely rebuilt the military.
Wow.
Only to watch Biden give so much of it away to Afghanistan.
He gave.
You can believe it. It's not even believable. It's not even believable what he did. The damage that man did or that administration did.
Can you believe it?
To this country is frankly not even believable.
That's bad.
And in particular, allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country. Many of them were murderers and drug dealers and gang members and people from prison for very heinous crimes. For him to allow those people into our country, and now we're spending tremendous amounts of time and effort. Nikki and Tom Homan, who's doing an unbelievable job, but we shouldn't have to be spending anything on that. We had the safest border ever. Now we have actually, as you saw, the numbers just came out, where we have actually the lowest numbers in the history of our country.
Wow.
But we shouldn't have had to do that.
Does he still have the Gulf of America thing here?
We're looking for murderers. Can you believe it? We're looking for murderers because thousands of murderers, some about 50% killed more than one person. One killed 5 or 7.
That's a lot.
And we're looking for those people right now. We shouldn't have to be looking for
President Trump, on Peter's question, are you going to make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay?
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO. And you know the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, you know, I mean, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine. But if the United States was in trouble and we called them, we said, we got a problem, France, we got a problem, a couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us? They're supposed to. I'm not so sure. You know, with Japan, we have a deal, which is a very interesting one. And I love Japan. We have a great relationship with Japan, but we have an interesting deal with Japan that we have to protect them, but they don't have to protect us. You know that? That's the way the deal reads. We have to protect Japan. And by the way, they make a fortune with us economically. There's another case. But we have to protect Japan, but under no circumstances do they have to protect us. I actually asked, who makes these deals? Yeah, Peter?
Well, so why stay in NATO at all?
I view NATO as potentially good, but you gotta get some good thinking in NATO. It's very unfair what's been happening. Until I came along, we were paying close to 100% of NATO. So think of it, we're paying 100% of their military, and they're screwing us on trade.
And when Zelensky inevitably comes back to the White House, what do you expect from him? And do you think you'll see him in the nighttime?
Well, I think what's going to happen is Ukraine wants to make a deal because I don't think they have a choice. I also think that Russia wants to make a deal because in a certain different way, way that only I know, they have no choice either.
Are you still thinking of going to Saudi Arabia and meet with Putin about this?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Saudi Arabia.
You know, I've made a deal with Saudi Arabia where, because normally you'd go to UK first. And last time I went to Saudi Arabia, they put up 450.
So fuck the UK. Are Saudi Arabia our boys now?
We were there. We had
Are we?
We had American companies that took in 450 billion. I said, well,
is that it?
This time,
somehow
they've gotten richer.
Always
we've all
have
gotten
been.
older. So I said, I'll go if you pay $1 trillion, $1 trillion to American companies.
That's a lot.
The purchase over a 4-year period of $1 trillion, and they've agreed to do that.
Saudi Arabia.
So I'm going to be going there.
That's
and
smart.
I have a great relationship with them. and they've been very nice, but they're going to be spending a lot of money to American companies for buying military equipment and a lot of other things.
Is that a trip in the near future?
Probably over the next month and a half.
Mr. President,
Okay.
you told us a couple weeks ago that you were looking
Pay to win?
to
Yeah.
speak with President Xi of China.
Saudis
That
on
hasn't
the come
happened.
up?
How come?
That's
do you
what I hear.
I've spoken to him, yeah.
Since that last phone call?
I don't want to say that, but I have spoken to him. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President,
I
regarding
have a great relationship with President Xi.
But you've
Great.
spoken to-
It was hurt because of COVID.
thank you, Mr.
That's why I don't call it the China virus anymore. He said, please don't call it the China virus.
But to be clear, you've spoken to him since January 17th?
I
Don't
want to say
call it
but I
that.
have spoken to him.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I speak to him a lot.
Regarding this executive order,
Please
you signed
stop
on
calling it the
security
China
clearances, at Perkins Coie. Do you think there should be more
Okay.
steps like this to be taken against other people involved in the Russia collusion?
I do, but that's going to be up ultimately to the Attorney General and various other people.
Yeah.
Just as a follow-up, the other night, we saw Democrats' behavior during your joint address to
Oh,
Congress.
yeah.
Do you think it shows just how out of touch they are with the American people,
Shaking
especially
his
given
head.
that 79%, according to a CBS poll, approved of
I love this guy. Who are you?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
Brett
I
Bart.
really liked your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Sir, regarding the executive order,
The answer is just, Nick, just to, and I know your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, the answer is I thought it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what happened the other night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even
It was a bit embarrassing.
Even, CNN fake news said that. They
W.
came out and they
Glaze?
said it.
Yeah.
And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them
Is that a
anymore.
new one?
They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said,
That's got to be a new one, right?
I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign.
Oh.
And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anymore. I
Oh,
don't know.
about him getting
It's not
PTSD.
possible they pay her as much money as I hear.
Yeah.
And certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them.
Yeah.
But what they said the
down
other
this
day,
hill.
they should be forced to resign about that young person.
That's the thing about that the kid with brain cancer,
Will you
DJ.
extend, if a TikTok deal is not made on the timeline you gave, will you extend that? Will you? You will. Okay.
I think, look, we have a lot of
Yeah.
interest in TikTok.
We're going to buy it.
China is going to play a role in it, so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're going to play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long would you extend it and how close are you to a
Well,
deal?
we'll see. But if I need, I don't, right now we have at least another month, so we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended. Yeah, but
our country, Mr. President,
Rada
regarding the
встречи.
executive orders, there was talk that you might sign one winding down the education department.
Oh, yeah.
which department?
The education department. Are you having second thoughts on that?
No. I want to bring the schools. I want to bring the schools back to the states. And I've said it 100 times. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, and yet we spend more. We're ranked number one for
Spending, yeah.
cost per student. We're ranked at the bottom of the list in education. And I know if I bring it back to Iowa, Indiana, Idaho, all these great states, I think I could say 40 states. I want to bring it back. 10 states won't be perfect. 5 states will be probably not so good. But they will be every bit as good as Norway and Denmark and Sweden and all of the states that are rated at the top. If you tell me about Indiana and some of these great states that run really well, Iowa.
Wow.
You tell me about those states, and if they run their own education, they're going to do a lot better than somebody sitting in Washington, D.C. that couldn't care less about the pupils out in the Midwest.
When do you think that would be signed?
Damn.
When would you sign that order?
Well, I want to just do it. I mean, we're starting the process. We're trying to get the
We're gonna do it.
schools back
Yeah.
into the states. Let the states
Why
run
not just
the
get rid of
schools.
education?
And I'll tell you, you'll see something. It's gonna blow your mind. It'll be run so well.
Smart.
The school system, and I also believe in school choice, but that will take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
A follow-up to that, Mr. President, if the education department were eliminated, how would you see, sort of what department, what agency would handle student loans and the other types of federal
That would be
grants
brought
the
in.
education
Yeah,
department?
that would be brought into either Treasury, or Small Business Administration, or Commerce. and we've actually had that discussion today. I don't think the education should be handling the loans. That's not their business. I think it'll be brought into small business maybe. Kelly really liked it and really would like to do it.
Okay.
So the loans would be brought into a group where they really do that. And I think it should be good. That is, by the way, the most complicated thing in moving. But it's very simple if you do that.
And the same for like federal grants.
Rejected your plan to move out more than 2 million people out of Gaza. What's your reaction to that and to Egypt's plan and to this meeting?
All about Gaza.
Out of Gaza?
Yeah.
I think that Gaza's a mess, and I think that Gaza could be good. I think it's got to be run properly, but right now Gaza is an absolute mess, and it has been for many, many years and decades. Yeah, Peter, did you have one more?
I did, yeah. They have these 2 Starliner astronauts stuck in space for 8 months. Have you spoken to them?
They left him alone. Biden left him up there.
And what do you know about that?
I know everything about it. I said, we have 2
Oh, boy.
astronauts that are stuck in space. I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor, can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
Damn.
I don't know about how this went down, because he's saying that the Biden White House...
Yeah, I heard
was
about this too.
offered some kind of SpaceX rocket to go get these guys, and they said no.
That's what I heard. I can't tell you that, but that's what I heard. But Biden was embarrassed by what happened, and he said, leave him up there. I would have said, if you're embarrassed, you got to get him out. Elon is right now preparing a ship to go up and get him.
I'm sure that they will see this in space. What is your message to
So
them?
we love you, and we're coming up to get you, and you shouldn't have been up there so long. The most incompetent president in our history has allowed that to happen to you.
Damn.
But this president won't let it happen. We're going to get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said, can you get them out? Because, you know, they've been left up there. I hope they like each other.
Won't let shit happen.
But maybe they'll love each other. I don't know. But they've been left up there. Think of it.
Oh, damn.
And I see the woman with the wild hair, good solid head of hair she's got. There's no kidding. There's no games with her hair. But, and you know, there's a danger up there, too. They
What
could
is it?
have
Oh, yeah, yeah.
some failures up there that would be very bad. You got to get them out. So I've authorized Elon a week ago. I said, you know, we have 2 people up there that Biden
What? He's
and
just
Kamala
talking?
left up there,
Yeah, he's just talking.
and he knows it very well. I said, are you equipped to get him? He said, yeah. He's got a Starship, and they're preparing it
Starship.
right now. And so Elon is going to go up and get him. Should I go on that journey just to be on the ship when we stop? What do
If
you?
that's an option, yes.
I should do it. Oh, that's terrible. I thought he liked me. I thought he liked me. I thought, Maria, should I do it?
Well, you should then come.
No
Maria
way.
likes me better.
You should then come back.
No fucking way.
When they come back, I'll greet them. How about that? No, we're going to get them out. I've authorized
my
Elon
God.
Musk to go and
That
get
was
'em.
close, yeah.
And he's prepared to do so.
Mr. President, what are you making of the market sell-off this week?
I think it's just, I think it's globalist that
Space
see how
Trump?
rich our country's going to be, and they don't like it. you
First
know? There's a
president
big
in
market out
space.
there.
That would go really hard.
Again, they've been ripping off this country for years, and now, and they're going to do great. Everyone's going to do great, but we can't let this continue to happen to America. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country any longer. Thank you very much, everybody.
Nope.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great.
Damn.
Play back there, ending inside of the Oval Office. President Trump doing what he normally does when signing executive orders, talking to the media, speaking.
Let me see this real quick at the beginning.
President of Mexico, wonderful woman today, and we helped them out with the problem they were having.
A problem?
Having to do with the tariffs, short-term tariffs. And we had a very good conversation. Also, we discussed drugs, and
Yeah.
then we're working much harder lately. Do you notice that?
Яблочина.
On people coming in
Удачи,
and
друг.
drugs, and we've made tremendous progress on
Прощай.
both.
He's walking it back? No, no. This is really common.
President Trump, what's your thought about why the markets are so spooked? Do you think they don't like the tariffs, or do they not like the uncertainty with some of
Pause
the...
for a second because this part isn't live. This is a trick that a lot of people do, like especially like they always keep an impending doom all the time. That way they keep the pressure on you all the time. And so this is basically what he's doing, right? Like there's always a there's like a, if you don't have all of this sold within 30 days, if you don't have, you know, the money back within 30 days, and like, you do, like, they will, it's negotiations 101. Well, it's more like, this is negotiations, but usually illegal shit, right? Like, these are kind of mafia negotiations, but like, yeah, it's very common.
Changes that have, and the carve-outs.
Well, a lot of them are
Like
globalist
cartel.
countries and
Oh.
Companies that won't be doing as well because we're taking back things that have been taken
About the
from
implications?
us
Yeah.
many years ago. We've been treated very unfairly as a country. We protect everybody. We do everything for all these countries, and a lot of these are globalist in nature. You know, they have. If you're outside of the United States, you know, it's going to be a little bit different. We just weren't treated right. We were ripped off as a country. I've been saying it for a long time.
He has been.
And I did
saying it for a real long time.
to a certain extent in the first administration, but with COVID coming in, we had to focus on that toward the end. But we had the greatest economy in history in the first administration. And
You support this?
I think we'll do even better
About
now.
what? What do I support?
But this is something that we have to do. There'll always be a little short-term interruption. I don't think it's going to be big, but the countries and companies that have been ripping us aren't particularly happy with what I'm doing.
I would expect
But the
that.
United States will be very happy. And, you know, our farmers are going to be very happy. And, again, there'll be disruption. But in the end, I said it before with China, we signed an unbelievable deal with China, $50 billion in purchases, and we're doing great. Biden, however, when he came in, they never enforced that deal. So, so that's the only thing that basically you have globalist companies that have been ripping us off that won't be able to rip us off any longer. I think that's what the big charge is.
Have you been influenced, some of these exemptions that have been announced and some of these temporary delays, have you been influenced in those decisions because of the market reaction?
Well, there are no delays at all. No, nothing to do with the market. I'm not even looking at the
here's
market.
another
because
one.
long term, the United States will be very strong with what's happening here. Now, these are countries and companies, foreign companies, that have been ripping us off, and no president did anything about it until I came along, and then I did a lot about it. You know, we took in tariffs from China $600 billion. Nobody else took in 10 cents from China. They never did. But when COVID came along, we had to focus on COVID. We did a great job. We got rid of that. We ended up handing over with a market that was higher than it was previous to COVID coming in. But this is very much about companies and countries that have ripped off this country, our beloved USA, and they're not going to be ripping us off anymore. So, you know, I think that has an impact on the market.
That's good.
This is a slate of nominees that's been prepared by the Presidential Personnel Office. It includes a number of sub-cabinet level appointments, a number of your ambassadors that have been previously announced, and also, crucially, given the administration's concerted effort to focus on violent crime, it includes a number of U.S. attorneys in major cities that have real crime problems.
That would be good.
Some very good people, too.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And then we have a number of ceremonial proclamations that Lindsay Halligan is going to...
So two very special proclamations, the first of which is a proclamation that proclaims March 2025 as Women's History Month in honor of all the wonderful women in your administration, all the wonderful women in America, and in honor of everything you've done for women and this administration has done for women in just, what, a month and a half?
We've done a lot, and women have done a lot for us, right? This is an honor. We have a wonderful woman here, Maria Bartiromo.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And thanks for all of your
Women are good.
Thank you. She's going to do an interview of me later. Maybe I shouldn't do this interview. I should be like Biden, not doing the interviews.
Man.
That's great.
Do you guys think he's going to run for a third term?
We love you too, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second one is a proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Irish American Heritage Month in honor of, to commemorate our amazing friendship between America and Ireland, and
Nice.
to just honor all of
It's
the
the Gulf of
Irish
America.
Americans. And I'm a little bit biased because I'm American and Irish, but
Yeah, well, great people. Yeah, great
St.
people.
Patrick's Day is coming up as well.
What's Ireland?
And they voted for me in heavy numbers, so I like them even now. You have to like it. You know, you're not supposed to, but you have to like that. All right. So for the Irish American people, proclamation.
There it is.
Mr. President, you're
Okay, all right, we got through all of it. I want to make sure we get all that. So yeah, we caught up because I missed the beginning of it. I wasn't watching. I was watching the rest of that other shit. I didn't get to it. Yeah, that was my bad. I didn't find it. President doing ASMR is wild. Yeah, it's nuts. And well, content never ends. Yeah, he apparently do another interview, etc. Right? I mean, goddamn, bro has unlimited energy. Yeah, he's citing new orders. No.
The Department of Justice, its litigating components, to seek those injunction bonds whenever someone tries to challenge our policies.
Oh
in
my
court,
God!
So that when they end up losing in court, and we believe
He
that
said
they
it's
will
round
end up
two?
losing in court, that they can be held financially responsible for the disruption to federal activities that their actions have caused.
Something they've wanted to do a long time, right? They've been looking to do this for years.
Yes, sir.
And why they
You're not about to
just
stop.
haven't got
This is a rule that's been on the books for a very long time. The Department of Justice has been very inconsistent in seeking these bonds.
From a legal standpoint, really a very big thing.
Thank you, sir. In order to protect American car manufacturers and American farmers, we have two modifications to the IEEPA tariffs that have already been announced against Canada and Mexico. This first order relates to Canada. Essentially, what it will allow for is the flow of parts and sub-assembly products into America to allow American car manufacturers to continue building cars. It basically excludes USMCA eligible goods from existing tariffs, and also in order to help our farmers at this
Canada
time
bros,
of
we're
year,
done.
we're going to be
Yeah,
reducing
we're getting
the
rid of
tariff
Canada.
imposed on Canadian potash from 25% to 10%. So this is a modification to our tariff regime to protect American car manufacturers and American
Just gonna
farmers.
get rid of it.
It basically makes it more fair for our car manufacturers during the short-term period before April 2nd. April 2nd is a little bit different. That will be much more significant. But during this interim period between now and April 2nd, this makes it much more favorable for our American car manufacturers.
Yeah. What does it say about lowering tariffs helps them? I don't know. The fuck do you intend that? No, I meant Canadians are now future Americans. That's the new term.
Can you see that, Peter? Look, nice to be tall, Peter, right?
I see right over.
You can see it so nice.
Yep.
That's why he's such a gentleman. He doesn't have to rush.
Future Americans.
And this is the same just for Mexico, sir, the previous one.
Same thing for Mexico. One for Canada, one for Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They've been in the news lately, haven't they? And I spoke to the
That's one way to say it.
president of Mexico, wonderful woman, today, and we helped them out with the problem they were having.
Oh, this is a
Having
repeat.
to do with the tariffs, short-term tariffs.
This is a repeat.
And
Yeah.
we had a very good conversation.
I was about to
Also,
say, bro, like, I thought this shit was about to keep going. Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, the thing is, they didn't play the beginning of it, so now they're replaying the beginning of it. I think that's really what it was. It's a recap? Yeah. No, I got it. Because I was, like, confused. Like, why would he have everybody leave if he was just going to go do more of them, right? I was like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? So, yeah, there it is. Well, it's theoretically possible renaming Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America could be used to justify new legal or territorial claims. Yeah, I figure we could take over Mexico. Maybe just do that, get that out of the way, too. I mean, kind of, like, seems like a good idea. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's smart. And signing things is actually good ASMR. Trump, the executive order ASMR. I think that's a good one. Yeah, why not, right? Tesla boycott? Man.
We're boycotting Tesla.
I sold my Tesla. I traded it in for a Subaru, actually.
Shut up, Elon! Go home, Elon!
When you already have 300 billion, why do you need more?
That's clever.
Wake up! Fight back!
I have friends who are undocumented.
As a queer person, I've been affected by this. Elon is the biggest clown there is, so I decided
So are you dressing up like Elon?
to dress up as a clown today.
Elon Musk.
So Elon's the biggest clown there is, so I decided to dress up like a clown. Why'd you do that?
Gonna make Cuba the 51st state.
Tech bro, you're gonna go.
The 51st state, man.
He tweets 200 times a day. The man is on ketamine and he's not well.
These two people are in bed together. They're doing it to everybody, not just to each other.
You understand that she had to go somewhere to have this professionally printed, right? Like, she had to go to, like, maybe Hobby Lobby or, like, Michael's or, you know, I don't know, Staples or something. And like, okay, I need... All right, so first, let me explain.
So they're doing it to everybody. We're all part of this. It's horrible.
They're gonna kill us first, but you're next.
Fire Elon Musk and send him to Mars, where he belongs.
What's up, everybody? We're back with a new Channel 5 breaking news special. As many of you guys know, the Trump administration has kicked things off into high gear, issuing 73 executive orders in the first month of the new presidency.
That's a
Very
lot.
important executive orders. Some of the executive orders are not that controversial, like creating a task force to disrupt the synthetic opioid supply chain in China, a declassification of the FBI files on the assassinations of JFK,
A lot of people were
and limiting
supportive
the
of that.
federal government's ability to pressure social media companies into censoring their users.
It really is a slippery slope.
However, many of these executive orders are extremely polarizing and range from mass deportation orders to bans on paper straws to restoring the death penalty to preventing children from medically transitioning genders.
There are only two genders, male and female.
Trump has also established...
I've never understood, and maybe this is going to sound bad, but I've never understood how saying two genders is transphobic. Because if you have, let's say, two cars, and you have a green car or a red car, and you go and you're in the green car and then you get in the red car, that doesn't make a blue car. You're just the other car now. Right? Like, you see, there's still two cars. It doesn't make a new car. I feel like it's almost transphobic to say that there's not. Because if you're saying that, like, being trans isn't the same as being a real woman, isn't this basically... I feel like that's what people get mad at J.K. Rowling for. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, like... none of this makes sense. Don't use logic for this? I don't get it.
something called the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, which has the stated goal of auditing government agencies and cutting back on expenses.
The checks never bounce to the federal government.
Something that's resulted in the defunding of the Department of Education and the mass firings of federal employees like park rangers, baby formula testers, USAID workers, and other alleged bureaucrats in the D.C. swamp.
And 6,000 IRS staffers expected to be terminated by the end of the month.
Now, the chief executive of DOGE is tech mogul Elon Musk, which has sparked a number of anti-Elon stuff.
And we're not going to stand back. We are wide awake.
The guy's a criminal. He's unelected, and he needs to go.
Nobody elected him. He's not qualified. He's a racist.
We covered one last week in New York City, and by coup, they seem to be suggesting that by defunding federal agencies, shrinking the government, and appointing Trump loyalists to powerful positions, Trump and Elon are attempting to seize absolute power over the U.S. and create an autocracy.
It's a blood...
That's about right. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
this coup, so nobody thinks there's a coup going on.
Yes.
He wants to be a king. People don't get it.
That's what they.
He wants
I'm
to
saying
be
that's what they think.
king.
He's acting like a king or wannabe dictator. I think it's pathetic.
We have a government where powers are supposed to be separated between equal branches.
Our democracy is being eroded from the inside by people who were not elected to be there.
Because what they're trying to create is an autocracy.
It's important to note that the unelected buzzword the protesters have attached to Elon is a shaky argument. Not only does the Constitution...
What a surprise. What a surprise. A bunch of retards out there yelling with signs actually don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Who could have ever guessed? When could this have ever happened? Why are they all boomers? I don't know. Wait. I do know. Oh my god. They're all old people that hate Elon because Elon is the computer guy and they don't know how to use computers. I think we figured it out. Solved. Yeah, no, all right, there we go. No, the connection's been made. They don't know, exactly. Crack the code, yeah. You got old guys hate EVs too. Electric car. What the hell is that? Electric car. This is liberal shit. Does it make you gay too? The frequencies from an electric car makes you gay.
Empower the president to appoint federal officials and cabinet
You're
members.
joking, but that's not far from the truth. No. My honest opinion is that, yeah, I think that Elon Musk represents, to a lot of people also, a technological revolution that these people are completely unfamiliar with. It feels very alien to them. And I think that for older people, that feeling is more extreme. And that feeling is that's more acute to them because they don't understand tech more on average. It makes sense. And I know people might not like this opinion, but you can't deny that it does make sense.
Without a public vote, but Trump also campaigned with the explicit intention of appointing Elon to the head of Doge.
Take over, Elon, just take over.
So those who voted for Trump, which is the majority of voters, also effectively voted for Elon. Anyways, while I was in New York City covering the Stop the Coup rally...
Everybody's saying we didn't vote for Elon Musk. I think that a lot of Trump voters, that is exactly what they voted for. They are getting exactly what they wanted.
There were similar protests breaking out on the West Coast, so I sent 2 correspondents into the field to check the temperature.
80-year-old women dressed as butterflies on traffic medians? Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Oh, God.
Correspondents into the field to check the temperature.
That's
80-year-old women dressed as butterflies on traffic medians?
Oh, yeah.
And these chants aren't good.
In the city of Glendale,
They're
which is near
sending
Los
their
Angeles,
best.
we had our friend Matt in the field.
What's up? We're here in Glendale, the Americana.
And at the Tesla showroom in Palo Alto, California, which is regarded to be the center of the Silicon Valley ecosystem, we have my homie Albie from San Francisco at a physical boycott of the Tesla showroom.
What's up, guys? My name's Albie. I'm Andrew's homie from Frisco, but I'm here at the Tesla showroom at Palo Alto.
There's a protest going on, protesting Elon Musk, Doge, Tesla.
Everybody's out here protesting Elon Musk, and so Channel 5 News.
Let's see what people think.
We are going to resist, and we're going to resist together, because nobody can tolerate this.
We will not tolerate a deporter-in-chief.
Enough was enough with the Sieg Heil.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
The heartfelt autistic salute. So 4 weeks ago, just me and a friend stood outside the service center.
I like how he calls it a Sieg Heil, and he also calls it an artistic salute. So it's like... You're acknowledging this person has like a mental problem, but you can't connect the two things.
In Burbank, and the next day there was 4 of us. Last week we came here and there was 30, and then this week it's just exploding here and across the country.
Hitler was an artist? Yeah, I mean, the thing is nowadays there's a really good chance that Hitler could have just been one-shot by furry porn on DeviantArt, and he would have never gone on to do any of that crazy shit. Would have never happened. We don't know how many mass murderers and genocidal maniacs that we've saved the world from because of furry porn. If Hitler were alive today, would he be a furry? There's a chance. What a crazy take. No, I'm just... The thing is that I say a lot of things that are crazy, but sometimes the world's a crazy place.
There was like almost 100 here today, and they're all everywhere.
Tesla burns to a crisp. That's the caption on this now viral video of the charred Model 3.
And it's just growing, and Tesla's stock is rapidly declining.
So a Tesla car is set on fire?
New numbers from Tesla show its annual EV sales declined for the first time in more than a decade.
The stock is crashing at the moment. You're watching it live. On the month, you're down at what, 23%? On the day, I think it's like 7 or 8% down. Oh, geez,
Big
now
down.
8%, approaching 9% down.
The organizers of the Glendale boycott rally say it's more than just about Elon's political affiliation, and that Doge aside, he's genuinely mentally unfit to be running billion-dollar publicly traded companies.
This guy supposedly runs the Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, and he's tweeting 200 times a day and never sleeping and taking ketamine. He's just been radicalized. His politics have clearly shifted, and we've seen it happen with all our friends and loved ones. They go down the dark side, they go on QAnon, down the internet rabbit hole, and something just happens to them, and it's usually white dudes. Thank you. It's usually some white dude who got picked on when he was a kid.
I was almost beaten to death, if you call that bullied. It was not a happy childhood.
Do you think that Democrats are doing enough?
Well, that's true. All we wanted to do was play video games, and then they had to put girls in video games, and so now we have to elect Donald Trump to stop that. That's how, like, yeah, nobody wanted this. Nobody wanted, everything was fine. And then this had to happen. They had to get rid of Laura Croft. Yeah, exactly. They had to make her boobs smaller. You gonna let that happen? No. Nope. Identity complaining about white dudes? Well, that's because it's a safe group of people to make fun of. And also, he's part of that group, too.
Absolutely not. They went and stormed the Department of Education building, and one little skinny dude was stopping a whole mob of angry Democrats. It's pathetic.
The stunt comes as President Trump is...
Keep in mind that that wasn't what was happening. If you see behind these windows, there is a line of police officers. All this guy was doing was standing in front of the door. Like, that's not even what happened. And you can tell that through the reflection.
considering abolishing the department.
Democrats do not know how to fight. That's literally my single mission. They know how to throw a punch, but when they take the punch back, they run away. And fighting is taking punches and getting bloody. It means our actual leaders need to get arrested, like John Lewis would have done.
Congressman John Lewis and Charles Rangel were among those arrested during a march on the National Mall. The lawmakers were among the first arrested after refusing police orders to disperse.
We need new leaders. All of our leadership of the Democratic Party, they're using 20th century tactics and messaging to fight against a battle troll destroying our country because of social media.
A what?
And messaging against a battle troll.
A battle troll.
Destroying our country because of social media.
All right, let's take a moment to talk about radicalization being referenced in that interview, because I too have caught wind of the 10-year-old 4chan memes being posted by Elon on X and thought to myself, how the heck did that happen? Back in the day during the Obama era, I can remember when Elon Musk was a full-blown save the earth liberal and frequently secured massive government contracts from the Democrats, which he used to build eco-friendly cars and rockets.
I have a Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
He
This
was
is a long
even
time
tweeting
ago.
in support of trans rights just a few years ago and vocally.
What was it? What did he say? All these pronouns are an aesthetic nightmare? Yeah. I think that's the way a lot of people feel. People don't give a shit about being trans, but they don't want to deal with the pronouns. Yeah, it's that simple. Like, that's the way most people think about this.
A few years ago and vocally criticizing Trump.
He's not the right guy. He doesn't seem to have the sort of character that reflects well in the United States.
But like so many Americans, both left and right, 2020 broke him. Within 5 years of voting for Brandon,
Andrew's right. Bro, 2020 took people off the fucking rails. Like, and think about all these goof clowns that keep trying to, you know, get in these IRL streams. These, you know, I don't know if you would call them people. These streamers that go to Japan and are annoying, right? Like, it's bad, bro. Like, it's bad. COVID did some lasting damage. It made people fucking crazy. NPCs, yeah. That's the battle trolls right there.
Elon would be tweeting things like, pronouns suck, and I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man.
Yep.
So how did that happen? The way I see it, it all goes back to the first stage of the COVID pandemic, which gave birth to the anti-lockdown Freedom March movement, which Elon was quite fond of. Elon's first personal freedom outburst came on April 28, 2020, shortly after the Trump administration and Democratic government officials in California ordered the shutdown of American Tesla factories to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Tesla, which employs roughly 10,000 people at its Fremont plant, was initially forced to shut down.
Immediately, Elon tweeted in all caps, "Free America," became critical of lockdowns and began calling the...
I think that also what happens is that it's the same thing that happens to a lot of people, is that somebody will deviate from the path slightly, and as soon as a person deviates from the path slightly, they're considered a enemy. I think this happened with Elon Musk. I think it happened with Joe Rogan. I think it happened with me. I think that it's happened with a lot of people. And it's the purity test. J.K. Rowling is another great example. And I think to an extent it might have even happened a little bit with Donald Trump if you go back far enough. And so what ended up happening is that, and it happened with Nick Merckx as well. Nick Merckx originally was like, yeah, I don't think they should teach gender ideology to kids, right? And he's like, oh, I don't support this. People started attacking him and they got extreme with him. And now he's talking about supporting Trump all the time. And so, like, what happens is that this type of infinite level Russian nesting doll of purity tests that never ends, what this ends up doing is it makes people say, why do I want to play this game that I can't win? They pushed him out. Yeah, these people aren't leaving, they're being pushed out. Who radicalized you? You did, yeah. These people radicalized other people against them. Democrats always eat their own. Well, to be fair, I think that conservatives do too. Like, I posted a video the other day, and I was defending, like, Derek Chauvin being in jail. And a lot of people in my YouTube comments, at least, were unhappy about that, right? And so, like, and that's, you know, again, a deviation. And so I don't think that this is a left-wing majority thing, but I think that the left, like, the difference between what I did and what the left-wing people do whenever they deviate is that my viewers were like, okay, Asmon's an idiot on this. He's so stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, let's go on to the next video. I don't agree with him on this. Let's move forward, right? But with Democrats, I think that they hold on to this one issue, and then it's like, if you basically... if you're transphobic, you're also a racist. And if you're a racist, you also are homophobic. So it's never enough for you to be one. You have to be all of them. You guys see kind of what I'm saying? We don't like your take, but we kind of understand your argument. Well, I don't know about we. I mean, there are a lot of people that agree with me too. But my point is that, yeah, there was a pretty big pushback for that, and that's fine, and that's okay. But you can see the difference. And I can look at like a comparison to this is that I remember when Hassan didn't really want to like he didn't really have like a strong opinion about like the Harry Potter like Hogwarts Legacy controversy, and he didn't really think that a boycott was going to do anything. He had a lot of people in his audience really get mad at him, and they got really angry at him for that. And so, I think this is what happens, right? Is that people are then become more and more afraid to move away from what is the established thinking, right? And I think that's kind of what happens. It's just a lot of minority. And also look at how J.K. Rowling initially was she was like a super fucking liberal feminist, right? Like to the extent that like I found her super fucking annoying. And I'll be honest, I was so glad to see her get hate. Whenever she got hate and she got kicked out of that group of like virtue signors because she didn't like, you know, like the trans issue, I was so happy to see her get shit on. I was. But at the same time, it wasn't really fair. Same? Yeah, exactly, right? Now I feel bad? Who J.K. Rowling? But like what I'm saying is that a innocuous opinion where you're aligned with people from 95 to 99% of them, that's not enough. And I think that the endless purity tests are what radicalized people like J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk. It's the, as soon as you step one step off of the path, now you're evil.
Government actions of Trump and Newsom, fascist.
Musk telling investors the orders hinder people's freedom.
This is fascist. Give people back their goddamn freedom.
Though initially pro-lockdown,
we've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now.
Trump quickly capitalized on the growing unrest among freedom-hungry conservatives and
well, I think that's logical, right? I mean, like, they thought that doing the lockdown would help. They did it. It didn't really make enough of a difference for them to feel like it's worth continuing, so then they changed their viewpoint. I think that there was, like, just a lot of illiteracy and mismessaging with COVID that was just coming from everywhere.
He positioned himself against the CDC and blue state governors in an obvious effort to court more votes for the upcoming election.
The Chinese virus.
Do you know there won't be any more COVID on November 4th? It'll be gone.
Still, throughout that election cycle, Elon stayed loyal to the Democrats and voted for Biden in 2020.
Biden won. Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him.
I did.
But things really heated up between Biden and Elon in 2021. After Biden held an electric vehicle summit and took the stage with the CEOs of both Ford and General Motors, praising them as the leaders of electric.
I remember when Tesla was first emerging, and it did seem like a lot of the other native auto manufacturers did try to hamstring Tesla through different types of regulation and other types of like rules. Now, and the problem is, like, I don't remember this very well, so I hate to say this, but I don't really have a lot of examples of this. I just remember reading it and thinking to myself, this seems like it's obviously rigged against Tesla.
Vehicles, despite the fact that at that point, Tesla had made 115,000 EVs in America, and General Motors had only made 26.
He never mentions Tesla, and that's got to be getting under Elon's skin.
You know, like Biden held this EV summit. He didn't mention Tesla once and praised GM and Ford for leading the EV revolution.
Biden never explicitly stated why Elon and Tesla were left out of the summit, but it likely wasn't about the mean tweets from the year before. Also invited to the summit and on stage was the UAW, or the United Auto Workers Union, the largest car manufacturer union in America, who work every single day to make sure that auto workers get fair pensions and wages.
They often did this through extreme hardship and sacrifice, sometimes at the expense of spilled blood.
Joe Biden is notably pro-union.
I'm proud to be the first president to walk a picket line.
And received large campaign donations from the Auto Workers Union, who'd recently tried and failed to unionize Tesla workers.
The United Auto Workers Union, or UAW, alleged that Tesla fired a worker for attempting to form a union.
Because of the company's immediate termination policy, Tesla is the only major auto manufacturer in the U.S. not represented by a single union, and their workers are paid significantly less than other rival car manufacturers, despite having reported unsafe workplace conditions on a consistent basis for the past 4 years.
Tesla factory workers in California are working so hard they're passing out on the production line.
Tesla employees, they were worked to exhaustion.
They gotta replace them with robots. You gotta get some robots in there, have them do it.
Tesla workers sue the company.
Approximately 50 workers were not adequately protected from excessive heat.
Inspectors found workers were exposed to.
And so this is what I find to be really funny about discourse around, like, for example, the, oh, Elon Nazi salute. Oh my God, I can't believe he would do it. Oh no. Is that something like this is a legitimate problem and an actual concern. But it's drowned out by bullshit. It's just like nobody's even thinking about this because it's drowned out by, oh, but look at the way he moved his arm. This is why nobody takes these people seriously. This is how they lose. Both can be true. The problem is the focus. The focus is not on this. It's on the hand salute. It's watered down by moron take. That's it.
Hexavalent chromium.
He's always had a record of abusing workers. There are labor claims against him at the factory in Milpitas for excessive heat and putting workers into dangerous conditions.
Yet, without the ability to unionize and demand fair wages and conditions, these complaints have mostly died in the courts or fallen on deaf ears at Tesla corporate. Elon has said that his anti-union stance isn't about making more money for himself, but actually because unions kind of kill the vibe.
And I think the unions naturally try to create negativity in a company and create a sort of lords and peasants situation.
Anyways, after being snubbed at the sun.
And the problem is that there is an element of truth to that. Because people that run unions, their best interest is to maintain the need for unions. This is the problem with any regulatory group. Is that any regulatory group or any regulatory apparatus can sometimes, you know, it's like the metaphor of like the hero becomes holdfast, where you have this thing that's meant to solve a problem, and then after the problem is solved, the thing then has to create new problems for it to solve in order for it to justify its existence. So, and there are instances of unions being problematic. Now, on a personal level, I'm very pro-union. I'm very much pro-union, and I think that unions are, like, right now, like, the pendulum is too far in the direction of corporations.
And Elon was pissed.
So you were pissed.
And around this exact time, two more things happened in Elon's personal life that made things even worse. First, he separated with his then partner, Grimes, a visually liberal lady with multiple children.
Elon Musk and Grimes have publicly announced their separation.
And simultaneously, one of his kids came out as transgender, changed their name, and denounced their dad.
Vivian cut ties with Elon in 2022 after filing a petition to change her name due to her gender identity and her severed relationship with her father.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke white virus.
I no longer live with or wish to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
If we were to look at Elon's conservative radicalization through the unmet core needs theory that I laid out in our recently premiered documentary, Dear Kelly, it's safe to say that through the collapse of his family and government backing, he lost his security. Through the loss of his status as the Democrat-backed tech darling, his significance. And through the estrangement of his then-girlfriend and child, connection. It was after...
This is why canceling people radicalizes them. And this is the long-term effect of this, like, cancellation culture. Like you, I don't think that I've been radicalized at all. I think that I'm radically normal, and the people that are radical get mad at me. That's the thing. Is that I think everybody else has gotten radicalized around me, and I've stayed the same. You can, and you can take that to the bank, by the way. Go back and watch a video that I did of 5 years ago. Watch a video I did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's the same thing.
For this, that Elon entered a traumatic fight-or-flight state in 2021, and he chose to fight, which allowed conservatives and conservative media channels to gradually groom him over the course of 4 years into what he is today, which is a prideful person with a chip on his shoulder, hopelessly stuck in the third stage of the grief process, angry and hell-bent on revenge. Elon's most significant revenge acquisition was his purchase of Twitter in 2022.
The world's richest guy is set to buy one of the world's most influential social media companies.
Biggest W of the last fucking 10 years.
Просто 0 колбеков, 0,
Absolutely
0.
fucking insane. This
просто
changed everything.
Чел даже не отпишет, блядь, я не знаю, самому Когда я вот отправлял, блядь, месседжи с эпиками, я был готов там за 2 цены
He
вендора
used his
продать.
own account to elevate the narrative
Даже дешевле уже.
of conservative reactionaries who were delighted to have the richest man in the world not only buying but spreading the same bullshit they've been pushing for 4 years. Still, for all of 2023 and most of 2024, Elon was red-pilled but not fully a Trump guy. He actually backed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for president.
Elon Musk tipping his hat toward Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to be the next president of the United States.
I remember this.
But when it turned out that DeSantis wouldn't really be the right guy, he was all Trump. Kind of. It wasn't until the Butler, Pennsylvania incident when someone tried to kill Donald Trump that Elon said, I want to fight beside him too. And he kicked off his endorsement with a $120 million donation to the Trump
That's
campaign.
a lot of money. 100. I think that's a really good thing that one person with a lot of money can buy an election. I feel like there's no way something bad could happen with that, right? I feel like that's good, isn't it? That's got to be good. It's good when people that I agree with do it. It's bad when people that I don't agree with do it.
Elon Musk is now Trump's second biggest financial backer.
To be fair, the investment was two-sided. After Election Day, Tesla's stock shot up over 80%, though after missing European sales targets and the growth of nationwide boycotts in the US, it started to crash back down to earth, which brings us to the boycott being covered today in this video. Apparently, Elon haters in Palo Alto and also in Glendale believe they can reverse Tesla's stock growth by staging physical boycotts of IRL Tesla showrooms, which they hope will create enough of a media spectacle to at least cause potential buyers to think twice before getting a Tesla.
We're just, making this point in front of a Tesla dealership and calling on the American people to stop buying Tesla. Let's boycott Tesla until we fix this problem.
I'm only focusing on Tesla and Musk because I feel like marching outside the White House or Trump is not, he's Teflon Don. So we're going after
what an unintentional glaze. We can't do anything to Trump. He's unstoppable, so we have to maybe we can attack Elon and it'll be okay. Jesus, man.
Us because it's a soft target, because he's sensitive and susceptible and he lashes out, and if we can decline his stock price, he has no wealth and then he loses his power.
Anybody who has a Tesla, sell it. Sell it immediately and sell it for the lowest dollar that you can. And if it's a relatively new car, that'll prevent another one from being made.
Don't buy Tesla.
I'm sure that's very easy for some fat American woman to say that has nowhere better to be in the middle of the day to some person that bought a car. Yeah, for sure. This is who you should take financial advice from. Yeah, no, it's totally okay. No, lose money on your car sale. You know, cars are one of the top 3 biggest purchases people ever make.
Nice.
You've got houses, cars, and I think there's one other thing. I can't think of it. But yeah, just lose money on it.
And if you have a Tesla, sell your Tesla.
Boats.
And if you have neighbors who have Teslas, tell them to sell their Teslas.
Kids.
Because Tesla's the public face of Elon Musk, who is the public face of fascism.
If I had one, I'd sell it. I would be too embarrassed to drive it.
If Elon didn't own Tesla, would you like the cars itself?
I don't care.
Are you kidding? That whatever it is, it's bizarre.
I don't think they're the best EVs
Я
on the
думаю,
market.
рано,
I
по-моему,
don't think anyone thinks that. Whether or not it's driver error, they're the most dangerous cars on the road. So take what you will from that.
New video of a dramatic.
Jesus. Come on, guys. You got to get off your phone while you're driving. People got to get up. People got to stop driving with their phone on, man. Like, cause y'all ever have this happen? Like, I'm in Austin. Everybody is driving with one hand on their phone. Fucking everywhere. I see it all the time. The light will turn green.
Wow.
No one will move. For like 2 seconds.
Oh.
And then, oh. It's a big problem.
Crash on the Bay
Is
Bridge.
it not illegal? Yes, it's illegal. Of course.
Safety concerns aside, the protesters believe the boycott will be successful, so long as they can create a direct correlation between owning and driving a Tesla and supporting the new Trump regime.
The fact is that none of the Tesla dealerships are locally owned. All of
Nobody wants to, so like having a bullying campaign where you randomly attack people for what kind of car they own isn't really a good option, because a lot of times people own cars because they're not able to afford another type of car. And so if you're attacking people on something that can be perceived as a class difference, you're going to look like you're the aggressor and you're the bad guy. And fundamentally, like, if you're calling people that are driving a car around Nazis because of the kind of car that they're driving, this is just too big of a step for reasonable average people to take to have it resonate with them in any sort of a meaningful way. Like, it's too disconnected. It's retard behavior. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Wrong? No, and I'm sure it will change some people's opinions, right? But I'm talking about it in a general sense. And I think that, you know, if you look at this in a general sense, these people, especially when these people are targeting individuals who own Teslas, they become the aggressor and they become the bad guy. That's really what the difference is.
them are corporate owned. So the money that you spend at this dealership in Palo Alto goes to Musk.
Quit funding Republican corporations. It's really easy. Quit buying Wisconsin cheese. Quit shopping at Target. Those are all things we can do. Quit doing Amazon. You know, if we don't give them the money.
What the hell's wrong with Target?
Then they can't do their horror to us. You know, and there's an Indian philosophy. Everybody has two wolves inside of them.
Yeah.
And
No. He really gonna do it?
the child asks, which one wins? The one you feed. It's the grandfather's wisdom. So don't feed the ugly corporations and the haters.
People matter.
Everyone is human. Everyone is legal. No one is a parasite.
Yo, what's happening, people? That Tesla boycott looked crazy. But you know what's also crazy? The fact that most of us are stuck inside algorithmic echo chambers, being manipulated by both sides of the evil mainstream media. But there's a
This is why you can watch me and you don't have any of those problems.
ass and news aggregate that makes it all make sense. And that service is called Ground News. Every single day, Ground News compiles thousands of articles from across the political spectrum and ranks them in terms of left to right and center, so you can consume as many angles as possible and make an informed decision about how you feel about what the heck's going on. Ground News shows us that the Tesla boycotts are predominantly being covered by the left. You can see here that only 15% of the coverage on this topic is from right-wing publications, which leads us to another reason Ground News is key.
This is a really good ad for him using it in reference to the topic of the video. This is smart.
They also have a dope-ass tool called Blind Spot that allows you to see stories not being covered by the left or the right. But my absolute favorite Ground News feature is called the ownership feature, which allows you to track the ownership associated with different publications. So you can figure out who's pulling the strings behind the scenes to push an agenda and make you feel a certain way. Because trying to understand a world full of unverified information and dual narratives can become very confusing. That's why here at Channel 5, we use Ground News almost every single day before we go into the field to figure out how things are unfolding. Now, I gotta tell you guys, Ground News does cost money. As it should. It's the best in the business. But what if I told you that right now, with my link or this QR code, you can get a whopping 40% off their annual Vantage subscription, bringing the cost down to below $5 per month. So if you want to check it out, go to www.ground.news/channel5. I believe in what they're doing.
Isn't it crazy how, like, there's an economy that's built around just doing ads for having a service that doesn't feed you bullshit? That's how bad the media is that you need an app to like remove the bullshit. That's nuts.
And you should too. All right, guys, back to the streets of Palo Alto. I noticed from the California interview footage that the topic of illegal immigration and mass deportation was much more of a talking point than it was in New York. After all, 1 in 10 workers in California are currently undocumented.
Really? So what does that say about 1 in 10 businesses in California? It sounds like maybe somebody you need to tax a little bit more, maybe a little bit of a fine.
Крайне правы. Как я должен поверить в это, что мне, например,
Is it, am I deport them all?
Мне кажется, я уже не туда бегу.
Am I crazy for saying that, like, I don't really blame the migrants?
Я не верю, что я правильно бегу.
I don't blame the illegal aliens. They are just simply following an incentive. I blame the companies that are hiring them. Because they're the ones that create the carrot. If the companies weren't hiring them, these people wouldn't be coming over here. At least not at the same ratio. I can never fault some person that lives in a shitty country in South America,
я следовал гайду, вот, я следовал гайду.
That wants to make their life better and come over to America.
Я просто проебал время.
We would all understand that.
Классно.
And if I lived in one of
Даже
those countries,
гайды нахуй
you bet your
просто
fucking ass
максимально
I'd be trying
кривые и
to come over to
корявые. Это
America.
просто пиздец.
Absolutely.
Ёбаные людишки не могут правильно написать, блядь,
So
просто
it's the
грамотно.
companies are the ones that you need to
Просто
put and hold.
так, чтобы было понятно, интуитивно.
That's my opinion.
Просто чё, на похуй пишут, блядь, хуй пойми, откуда, какую правую крайнюю дверь? Из Штормграда, блядь, нахуй, из Родримара, крайне правую дверь.
Work in various businesses are really good people who might not have a legal status in this country, and it just, you know, what's going to happen to them?
I have friends who are undocumented. You know, I used to own a construction company. Well, you know, half of the construction workers in this area.
So we have a woman who's made so much money that she's able to take the day off probably to come out and complain about another company. And the money that she's made has been at the expense of workers who are not given the same privileges, compensation, and rights as American workers, but she's the one who's on the right side of history.
У меня уже перья заканчиваются, классно.
Uh-huh. Wow.
О, и имя. Классно. Просто классно.
Isn't that convenient? That's incredible.
Okay.
And about half of them are undocumented. We could not have built the buildings we built, like the Monterey Bay Aquarium, Facebook, could not have happened if we didn't have the...
Then how are there buildings in other countries that don't have massive
Что ты делаешь? Просто пиздец.
How do they have buildings? Like, it's magic? I guess so. Yeah, it's just it's such a ridiculous premise. It's not even worth entertaining. And what I find to be funny about this is that these are the people who think that they're the moral authority. These are people who have become probably multi-millionaires off the backs of second and third world indentured servitude, effectively, right? Because here's another component to this, is that if you're an undocumented and you're working for one of these companies and you have a problem with the way that things are being done, you can't really go and resolve that in legal way. If you get hurt on the job, the amount of privileges and things that you should have as a worker are not available to you. And also, your negotiating power as a worker is diminished because your employer can always hold it over you. Okay, well, if you have this big of a problem and you're not going to do this, there's always the implicit worry in the back of their mind, I'm sure, that if I don't do what they want, they might call ICE on me. No health care, no retirement, no 401k. This is ridiculous. These people are self-reporting. They said, oh, well, we abused these people for years, And now we want to make sure that this keeps. I find this is so. There's nothing that I hate more than greed masquerading as virtue, and I think that's exactly what this is. I hate it. I really do. It's so obnoxious. It's a mask-off moment for sure. It really is. I hate it. It's not slavery. It's not. I wouldn't delegitimize the slavery that we had in America. Slavery that we had in America is an unspeakable evil. This is not even remotely close to that. But it's manipulative, it's exploitative, and it's bad. This is kind of like how people, like, we don't need to call them slaves in the same way that people don't need to call far-right people Nazis. We don't need to invoke these emotions. Let's just be honest, direct, and fair, and say that this is worker exploitation, flat out, and these people are advocating for cheap labor. Cheap labor with less accountability.
Those immigrant workers.
I have family members who are from Mexico who have been affected by the immigration policies.
Some of my coworkers are undocumented. My son is
Where do you work?
To be attending college next year, and he has a disability, so we're applying for financial aid right now that I feel like might not be there when the time comes.
At stake are resources and support for more than 7 million students with disabilities who depend on the agency to ensure access to a free public education.
I also have a son who has autism, and I think that a reworking of everything, this stop on federal funding is just crazy. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's hurting the country.
The strength of a country is shown by how much they protect the rights and the freedoms and the needs of the most vulnerable. And Musk and Trump are dismantling all of that. We are also a queer family, and I worry about my children's safety and future and rights. That their rights will slowly but surely be stripped away. I think they will not stop with the immigrants. They will keep going towards the most vulnerable who don't fit the mold.
Wake up. It's happening way too fast. And if you don't stand up and
oh, man. How about that? Man, how about that? Retired boomers? Yep.
and protect the other groups, you're going to be next. It took Hitler a year from January of 33 till May of 33 to come after the gypsies, which are brown people and migrated and did labor work. 33, 34, 35, 36. Unionists, socialists, trans, and gays. And then in 37, they came after the Jews, Night of the Broken Glass. So that's the progression that we're going through right now. And, you know, the Jews didn't stand up for people at the beginning. They were making money. You know, they were industrial.
Идол-слушателя. Вот эти вроде идол-слушателя.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание. Я не готова применить это заклинание.
But they turn. So if you think you're immune and you can just sit it out, you're going to get caught.
This is about standing up
for our rights.
And even though Trump probably thinks what he's doing is saving democracy, is destroying it.
Many of the protesters also believe that the mainstream
destroying democracy is winning. Yes.
The media machine is complicit in this coup as well, in the way that it's hypnotized the masses away from progressive politics, gradually grooming them into worshiping billionaires and falling for overblown culture war distractions.
What do you make on the attack on DEI?
I mean, I think it's a really easy way for basically a larger ownership, class to say, hey, don't pay attention to the fact that your groceries are doubling in price every year. Don't pay attention to the fact that nobody can buy a house. just pay attention to the fact that trans people are scary to you, and DEI is a fun buzzword. The Republican and right-wing propaganda machine is incredibly strong, and people who...
The thing is that, and the most important part about this is that he's right. He's right about that. Now, it doesn't mean that DEI is good, but I don't think that it's a mystery why, after Occupy Wall Street, one of the most effective to this date, classed warfare, like events, cultural events happen, less than, 2 years after that, you had all of this identity politics. And it's also like, I mean, it's not like DEI isn't bad, right? It's obviously bad, but like he's right to say that the real people that are winning here, the people that are really like causing you problems and causing you issues are not trans people. They're the people that are running the government and the people that are paying the people to run the government. It's to distract from real issues. Yeah, and it's not that it isn't a real issue. It is a real issue, and it is a problem. It is discrimination. But it's not the main thing, right? It's like a symptom. You're wrong on that point? Okay, that's fine, but that doesn't... If you want to say that I'm wrong, that's nice, but you have to have a reason for it, don't you? DEI, at its core, isn't bad. Of course it is. If you're giving somebody an advantage because of an immutable characteristic, then it's bad. Yeah, discrimination is bad. It's pretty simple.
Otherwise, they're just not engaged, and people, they've got multiple jobs. They're just too bogged down to pay attention to things, to learn about things, and systems keep them, uneducated, just oppressed in various ways. That when you come home from like a triple shift, what are you gonna do? Like go online and read about stuff?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
You've got so much more stuff to take care of. So I don't blame anybody for getting into like the right mold, but it's like we'll see how good the propaganda machine is for the next few years.
So you support Elon Musk?
Yes.
What do you like about Elon Musk?
Everything is a smart guy. Is helping us to figure out what's going on in the government.
You believe he's making the government more efficient?
I hope he does. I mean, we'll find.
Good answer. It's a great answer. Yeah. I hope. Yeah, I hope so.
And that sooner or later,
they probably genuinely are finding some inefficiencies and some corruptions that everybody can agree on. And I think they're also saying things are fraud that are just valuable services being rebranded as waste.
I understand all that stuff, but the truth takes time for it to come out. We hear all these negative stories, the cultures, laying off people.
He's the guy? Yeah, this is the guy, man. This is the guy. Only logical person? Yeah.
This, that, but eventually the truth will come out.
Do you think Donald Trump had
Me too.
I mean, look, he's been in the office for 1 month, and he's being bombarded with all this negative media. People have to give him some time, chance.
I think that this guy is like what I always use as an example of like a Walmart American, and I don't mean this in like a derogatory term, but this is just like your average guy. And I think that watching the media and looking at the way that the media paints a picture about Donald Trump or Elon Musk, it does kind of radicalize people and make people distrustful of the media because of how blatantly obvious it is that it's biased. And I think that's what I think this guy's a great example of that. You got the critical thinking. Yeah, people see that, they're like, this is odd. You're on this, but wrong on DEI. I mean, if I'm wrong, then say why, right? A lot of people like to say I'm wrong. They don't like to say why.
I mean, America spoke, right? He won all the swing states. He won the popular vote. I mean, I have to give him a benefit of the doubt. And only time will tell if he's good for this country or he's bad for this country.
President Trump says some of the money apparently saved by the Department of Government Efficiency's cost-cutting efforts could be given back to Americans as stimulus checks. Last week,
I don't think they should do this, by the way. I think that they should reallocate this money into an entitlement program and make sure that people that need the money the most get it, rather than just distribute it back to everybody indiscriminately. Like, if you're making over 200K a year, you don't need this. Pay the debt. I think that right now it would be really important for people, especially with like prices getting higher with tariffs. I think that now would be the perfect time to give people a little bit of an injection. If you're going to do it, this would be the best time to do it.
Said the administration is considering giving 20% of Doge savings to citizens.
If he were to give each member of the American public $5,000, would you take that?
Of course.
Yeah.
We're giving Ukraine 200 billion. Why not?
Average people. Again, this is what I said. This average people. Average, everyday people think this. Yep. It's disappointing that there's such messaging from mainstream media about the same thing happening with Israel. I think Israel is much better at advocating for itself than Ukraine is. But, you know.
You wouldn't take it?
If they send it to me, I have no choice but to take it, but it's going to dramatically increase inflation, and all they talk about is saving money. Why wouldn't they use that money to go pay off the debt they seem to care so much about? It's graft. It's trying to bribe people with money while they pick your pocket in the front and they take all your money.
All right, guys, shall we? We just finished checking out the Elon Musk protest. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Channel 5 News, we out, baby.
Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and
I really think that Andrew's doing a great job with these videos. I think that, like, really the shift was, like, in my opinion, I think it was the Ukraine video that he did to Kiev. I think that these have been really, really high-quality, great videos. And he's been killing it. I think he really has been. And, like, he's been, and I think that one of the best things is that he approaches a lot of these like really controversial topics. And one thing you might notice is that obviously he chooses which people he's going to have in the final video cut, right? Clearly, that's the case. But at the same time, he lets the people tell the story themselves.
Fuck the authority, Channel 5
He's what a real journalist should do.
We don't
I think so too. Yeah, I mean, what's his channel name? His channel name is Channel 5. I've been watching this guy for like, what is it now, guys? Like 4 or 5 years? Yeah, it's been a long time, and so yeah, make sure to give him a sub and give him a like. I think he makes great content, and it's one of my favorite YouTube channels. I enjoy him, but he seems very against the right. I mean, as somebody who is pro Elon Musk and relatively pro Donald Trump, I think that this video was a very fair accounting of what happened, what the situation is, and it is an authentic representation of the topic. Like, I think so, right? He's in the middle, that's good enough. Yeah, and it's not about which side he's on, right? Like, I think that's what really matters. And also, like, sometimes right-wing people or left-wing people are more right about something than the other, right? I mean, it's not like not every issue has two sides to it that are equal. Like, there's some people that are just on the wrong side of certain issues because they're fucking stupid and there's no evidence to support their perspective. So that's what I would say. Make a great time capsule for the future to understand. Yeah, I think so too, absolutely. And it's pointless. They're going to disagree with you unless you have their view. Yeah, no doubt. But and I think that's what I say no to echo chambers, left or right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why it's important to interview different people and get their views, right? So yeah, I thought this was a great video. And again, as somebody who's been like very positive about this, I would say yes, absolutely. This is something that I would support, right? I mean, like, I think this video is very fair, and I think it's I think the appreciation for news should not necessarily just be about how many people can you find that can tell you that you're right. I don't really think that's a very good way of going about it. I think that's a very bad way.
Произнести это заклинание. Надо подождать. Я не готова применить это заклинание. Мне нужно подойти ближе. Надо подождать.
Знаешь, где прогрев идет? Показать? На НТВ. Где Зеленского хвалят. Вот это прогрев.
Андрей Владимирович, лично меня вы приучили к тому, что каждая зарубежная поездка Зеленского оборачивается грандиозным триумфом. В чем успех Зеленского на этот раз? Только, пожалуйста, не говорите
Это они про ситуацию Трампа и Зеленского, собственно говоря, вы поняли, да?
мне, что успеха не было.
Успех был.
Успех был, слава тебе, Господи.
Успех был. Мы тут сидим, Зеленского говном поливаем, что он все заруинил, а на НТВ такие, вообще-то он молодец, успех был. В чем же успех? Сейчас они все расскажут.
Теперь, пожалуйста, расскажите.
Прежде всего, потому что Зеленский последовательно изложил позицию Украины о необходимости получения гарантий.
А он получил гарантии?
Он не получил гарантии.
Как же это можно тогда называть успехом?
Это успех, потому что он изложил, он не отказался от своей прежней позиции. Он
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Резкое повышение его рейтинга на Украине. И это то, что произошло, это первый камень в его успех на следующих президентских выборах. В общем-то, эта встреча показала политическую импотентность Трампа.
В чем это?
Еще и Трамп импотент теперь получается. Нормально, чи нет? То есть это получается Зеленский пришел в овальный вот этот кабинет, достал свою хуйню венозную и показал Трампу, что вот. Так жизнь.
Это в том, что Трамп совершенно не в состоянии перейти к конкретному обсуждению того, что называется мир на Украине.
Поэтому, ребят, это на НТВ.
Чего?
Это на НТВ. Независимый телеканал. Этот чел всегда там типа против основного мнения. Он типа оппозиции там в студии. А, да? Ну, подожди, а ты откуда знаешь? Ты что, смотришь это? Так объясняешь, как будто ты прямо, я не знаю, каждый день смотришь вот эту передачу, интересуешься, в курсе, кто что говорит, кто там оппозиция, кто нет. О, блядь, спалился. Да.
YouTube тормозит, медленно загружаются сайты. NotBlockNet избавит от вирусов, которые мешают свободно пользоваться интернетом. Скачивай надежный, быстрый и безопасный антивирус. Ссылка в описании.
Так, ну хорошо, мне говорят, что я не читаю хорошие новости про Россию. Блять, проблема в том, что мне их и не скидывают. Может быть, их как бы нет. Но вот тут скинули, наконец-то. Итак, хорошая новость про Россию. Договорничок, мне тоже надо готовиться, ребят. Так вот. Яйца в России оказались самыми дешевыми в G20. Яйца в России оказались самыми дешевыми среди стран большой двадцатки. А самые дорогие яйца в США. Аналитики посчитали, в России 10 штук в среднем можно купить за 115 рублей. Немного дороже в Индии и Индонезии. 120 и 123 рубля. В пятерку также вошли Бразилия и Турция. 147 рублей. А вот в США розничные цены достигли 371 рубль. Виной всему эпидемия птичьего гриппа, бушующая в стране уже несколько месяцев. Жители Канады, ЮАР, Аргентины, Италии, Германии, Японии и Франции должны будут отдать за десяток яиц от 200 до 300 рублей. Ну а в Америке за 12 штучек где-то 1200 рублей. Ну это если нормальные яйца. А так где-то около 1000 рублей можно найти там за 12 яиц. Да, ну ничего. Вот, поэтому, вот видите, есть хорошие новости для России, я их зачитываю. Мне их бесплатно в деревне куры несут. Причем я заметил, что желток у них более яркий, чем в покупных яйцах. Поздравляю, слушай. А можешь мне прислать по почте, пару яиц? Бесплатно. Но я доставку оплачу, мне кажется, даже это дешевле будет. Кстати, книжка Озона уже где-то в Нью-Йорке. Скоро я ее на руки получу, реально.
Новость фейк. Ибо в США яйца продаются за доллары, а не рубли.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Сегодня Зеленский ждать заседание Евросовета. Уже
я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Не буду. Идем дальше. Плохие новости для криптонов. Биржа какая-то, Гарантекс, я не знаю, что за биржа, сообщает, что Тезер, а именно USDT,
Сначала нужно выбрать цель.
Тезер заблокировал кошельки биржи на 2,5 миллиарда рублей. Из-за этого под угрозой весь российский рынок USDT. Торговля приостановлена по причине технических работ. Что об этом говорит Гарантекс? Тезер вступил в войну против российского крипторынка и заблокировал наши кошельки на сумму более 2,5 миллиардов рублей. Мы временно приостанавливаем оказание всех услуг. Вот, короче говоря, да. Это там, по-моему, если не ошибаюсь, говорят, что там Европа вела какие-то санкции против этой биржи. Вот. Правда это или нет, может быть, биржа просто решила заскамить всех таким образом. Но, типа, доллары, короче говоря, вот эти криптодоллары хотят у россиян забрать. Насколько это правда, я не знаю. Ну, вообще, как говорили, крипта...
Слишком далеко.
Это вообще, как бы, тема, она далека от политики, от правительства, от регулирования.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Уже даже доллары в крипте нельзя спокойно у себя где-то держать. Их просто могут забрать и все. Все и забрали. Заблокировали или еще что-то. Я вообще... Так крипта на бирже. Так
я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Эта биржа давно под санкциями. Ну, значит, решили заработать денег, оправдывая это тем, что якобы санкции. Я не... Госсекретарь США назвал полномасштабное вторжение России в Украину прокси-войной между США и Россией. Поняли? Не обращайте внимания на то, что у него на лбу, это нормально. Крест на лбу — это символ покаяния у католиков. Типа там какой-то праздник, они себе это вот, соответственно, рисуют. Вот, на лбу. Ну вот он решил.
Президент Трамп видит это как затянувшийся и зашедший в тупик конфликт. Честно говоря, это прокси-война между двумя ядерными державами, между США, помогающей Украине, и Россией. Этому нужно положить конец.
Но мне интересно, а Зеленский в курсе, что это прокси-война между США и Россией? Ну, типа, он буквально говорит, что это мы, США, воюем против России руками украинцев. Вот то самое, о чем говорили все это время пропагандисты российские, да, там, Соловьев, да и все, Соболев, все вообще. И сейчас вот секретарь США, то есть само правительство США, как будто бы признает, что вот, да, мы воюем против России руками Украины. Отказывая Украине в помощи полностью, но война почему-то продолжается, да? И сейчас Европа так неожиданно, да, поднапряглась и хочет теперь помогать Украине. Теперь это прокси-война между Европой и Россией, получается? Или что? Или кого? Да.
Никаких идей или планов, как это сделать.
Почему по российскому ТВ сейчас говорят наоборот? Мне кажется, у них методичка сломалась. Они запутались. С тех пор, как пришел Трамп, начался какой-то хаос, нахуй. Потому что при Байдене все было стабильно и, ну, понятно, да? То при Трампе никто ничего не понимает, что нужно говорить. Ты сегодня одно сказал, Трамп завтра выйдет, скажет вообще другое. Вчера Путин, я не знаю, там, образно говоря, скажет там, вот, США, наши союзники. А на следующий день госсекретарь США выйдет, скажет, да это прокси-война, мы в России воюем. Если что. Руками Украины. А Путин вчера говорил, а мы будем торговать с Америкой. Пусть они наши ресурсы. И что это вообще такое? И вот это войны, конечно. Так, что у нас? В интервью Марко Рубио заявил, что Дональд Трамп рассматривает войну в Украине как затяжной тупиковый конфликт. После этого Рубио назвал российское вторжение в Украине войной между ядерными державами. США, помогающими Украине и России. Тогда чего Россия вторглась-то в Украину? Понимаю. И первые полгода США не помогали. Столько вопросов, да, и вообще ответов нет. Он также добавил, ни у кого нет ни идеи, ни плана, как положить этому конец. О, отлично. То есть Трамп, который как 2 месяца бегает и говорит, у нас тут план уже разработан, все, сейчас будет конец. Входит госсекретарь США и говорит, у нас ничего нет. Ни плана, ни идеи. Мы вообще не понимаем, как это все закончится. Но Трамп пытается. План украинцев и их союзников заключается в том, чтобы просто продолжать воевать сколько потребуется. Это не стратегия. А стратегия это вот, например, Red Alert. Игра такая. И вот я в нее играл, помню, давным-давно еще на приставке. Вот стратегия. А вот это, вот ни у кого нет ни идеи, ни планы и ничего, это тоже не стратегия. Это тоже не стратегия. Короче, ну и вот. Соответственно, да, Рубио заявил, что это прокси-война, оказывается, между США и Россией. Высокопоставленный чиновник администрации Трампа рассказал, что изначально предлагалось приостановить военную помощь Украине и обмен разведданными на неделю-две в рамках кампании по давлению на Зеленского. Помимо подписания ресурсной сделки, некоторые члены администрации Трампа хотят, чтобы президент Украины уволил ряд чиновников, которых Белый дом счел враждебно настроенными к переговорам с Россией. Кто же это? Даже не знаю. Пауза в поставках помощи и обмене разведданными является предупреждением Украине о последствиях отказа от сотрудничества с Трампом по его мирному плану, детали которого остаются неясными. По информации издания, остановилась не только поставка помощи, которая направлялась в Украину, но и американское оружие внутри Украины было перемещено на базы. Шо? Некоторые американские высокопоставленные лица при остановке и не успеют нанести значительный практический ущерб. В частности, сенатор Линдси Грэм надеется, что все короче, уже есть, скажем так, ну, вот такие вот, да, моменты, что начинается разговор о том, что помощь вернется скоро. Сейчас
я не готова применить это заклинание.
Поэтому, как бы, ну вы поняли. Тем временем Соединенные Штаты Америки ведут тайные переговоры с украинской оппозицией в рамках плана по снижению, заявляет Политиков. Политиков уже многократно применить это заклинание. По словам 3 украинских парламентариев и экспертов по внешней политике США от республиканской партии, высокопоставленные союзники Трампа провели переговоры с лидером украинской оппозиции Тимошенко и бывшим премьер-министром и высокопоставленными членами партии Петра Порошенко, предшественника Зеленского на посту президента. В центре обсуждения был вопрос, может ли Украина быстро провести президентские выборы. А они уже высказались. Сказали, что не будет никаких выборов, пока война. Каким СМИ ты доверяешь? Никаким. Я поэтому говорю, что Политико это, ну, они уже или просто ошибались. Просто у них источники какие-то сомнительные всегда, да, анонимные, которые им всякую хуйню говорят, а они как бы сразу же об этом пишут. Келлог дал свой спич в Европе. Так, сегодня день спичей. Спич — это разговор, диалог. А вечером нас ждет парад пресс-конференции и комментариев после саммита в Брюсселе. По крайней мере, достаточно прямо маски скинуты. Что же он сказал? Стратегический интерес США – перезагрузка отношений с РФ. Нам нужны хорошие отношения с Москвой. США не заинтересованы в окончании войны, который бенефициал для Украины, который дает Украине преимущество. И именно потому помощь Украине остановлена, чтобы заставить Украину перестать хотеть победить. Что? Россию невозможно победить в войне на истощение. Они готовы убивать сотни тысяч. Мы не можем с ними воевать. Украина должна это осознать. На вопрос репортера это же даст России стимул воевать дальше. На что он ответил, ну да, нам похуй. Подпишите Mineral Deal, и наш экономический интерес в Украине вас защитит. А возобновление военной помощи США Киеву зависит от его готовности к урегулированию и подписанию сделки по ископаемым. Спецпосланник Трампа Келлог. США и России необходимо перезагрузить отношения ради завершения конфликта в Украине. Тут более дополненный диалог. Также Келлог заявил, что продолжение попыток изолировать и не общаться с Россией не является жизнеспособной стратегией. Видимо, это осознание пришло к ним, ну вот, после 3 лет этой войны, соответственно, санкций. Я не знаю, может быть, они поняли, что это очень вредит Америке, поэтому не будем мы, соответственно, душить Россию. Раз такая тряска, да, происходит. В Белом доме опровергли сообщение Reuters о том, что Вашингтон намерен лишить правового статуса около 200 тысяч проживающих в США украинцев. Также Трамп рассматривает идею изменения формата участия США в НАТО, в том числе отказа от обязательной защиты союзников в случае нападения на них. Я не совсем тогда понимаю, а зачем вообще тогда это НАТО? Зачем тогда это НАТО-НАТО? Если по итогу теперь уже и это НАТО, и США, которые в НАТО, не дает никаких гарантий в случае нападения на страны НАТО. Как будто бы Трамп реально все понимает прекрасно. Как будто он прекрасно понимает, что война так или иначе произойдет более масштабно и против НАТО, в том числе против европейских стран. И он это прекрасно понимает, и вот сейчас пытается как бы соскочить. Просто заранее соскочить, чтобы Америка потом не отвечала за то, что будет происходить на каком-то там континенте нахуй. США требуют от Украины согласия на быстрое прекращение огня с Россией как условие подписания сделки по добыче ископаемых. Чего? Подожди. США требуют от Украины согласия на быстрое прекращение огня с Россией как условие... Подожди, так это же Украина подписывает условия соглашения по редкоземельным с Америкой, а не Америка с Украиной. Это Украина приходит, предлагает США, делает услугу, скажем так, для Америки. Ох, Америка еще требует что-то. Типа Америка и так с этого получает редкоземельные металлы. Что-то я не понял логику. Что за хуй? Спецпосланник Трампа Уитков о перспективах отмены паузы в передаче оружия и разведданных в Украине. США исходит из того, что в отношениях с Украиной все возобновится. Вашингтон уведомил Москву, кто будет от США вести переговоры по Украине. Проинформирует и Киев. Трамп дал понять Зеленскому, что путь назад к их переговорам имеется. США довольны первыми шагами Киева в этом направлении. Поэтому да, ребята, все нормально. Мы движемся к договорничку все-таки небольшому какому-то, по крайней мере с Америкой. Спецпосланник Трампа Уитков о прекращении обмена разведданными с Украиной заявил: надеюсь, мы вернем все обратно на рельсы с украинцами и все восстановится. Одобряют ли США, что союзники продолжают делиться с Украиной американскими разведданными? Да и похуй.
Как и где погибли?
Все, короче говоря, все наладится, все будет. США снова будут предоставлять Украине военную помощь, разведданные и так далее. Вот. Газдеп. Газдеп заявляет: США считают, что заявления Зеленского относительно его разногласий с Трампом были серьезными. И теперь можно двигаться вперед. Мы достигли значительного прогресса с Россией и Украиной за последние 2 дня. В ближайшее время приму решение о временном защищенном статусе украинцев, заявил Трамп. Украине придется идти на мирную сделку, поскольку у нее нет выбора, заявил Трамп. Тем временем Песков заявил: США не являются дружественной страной для РФ. Ну да, пока что. Это пока что может быть. Началось. Не-не-не-не-не-не, подожди. Идем дальше. Лавров. Военный контингент ЕС в Украине. Прямая война стран Европы против РФ. Это то же самое, что присутствие НАТО. Мы не видим никакого компромисса в этом вопросе. Как я и говорил, никаких компромиссов со стороны России. Куча компромиссов со стороны Украины, конечно,
Мне
да,
нужно
и давление
подойти
Трампа
ближе.
на Зеленского. Но со стороны России ничего. Никаких
Я не
компромиссов,
готова
никаких
применить это
никакого
заклинание.
военного контингента. И это ускорение не должно быть. По заявлению Лаврова, да? Идем дальше, это еще не все.
У меня нет цели.
Которые тоже хотели против России воевать, Наполеона, Гитлера. Господин Макрон
Надо подождать.
потому что
Не могу достать. Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание. Я не готова применить это заклинание.
А чё, нет, что ли? Она прямо сейчас ведет войну в Украине. Это не угроза для Европы? Или как Европа должна это воспринимать? Россия нападает на Украину. Уже 3 года там воюет. Убивает людей, разрушает города. Это не угроза вообще. То есть, как бы, Лавров и вообще, как бы, да, российская страна воспринимает это вот перевооружение Европы, да, и Франции там, и так далее. И их заявление. Как угроза.
Себя.
А то, что Россия напала на Украину, это не должно быть угрозой для Европы. Где тут нахуй логика вообще? То есть какие-то заявления и слова Макрона это уже угроза для России. Они уже напряглись. А целая война, которую начала Россия, это не должно быть угрозой для Европы. Почему? Почему? Я не понимаю. Наполеон и Гитлер предшественники президента Франции Макрона. Москва считает ядерную риторику Макрона угрозой для России. А ядерная риторика России, блядь, вообще угрозой являться не должна. Не, почему это только в одну сторону должно работать, я не понимаю. Мы все знаем ядерную риторику России. Мы знаем неоднократную угрозу со стороны Путина. Ядеркой туда, ядеркой сюда, блядь. Да мы сделаем это, да мы то. Господи. Это было?
Сначала нужно выбрать цель.
Надо сначала
Кто заявляет?
добиться перевеса на поле боя и потом со слабой Россией уже договариваться. Правда, теперь не упоминается.
Я могу произнести это заклинание.
Кого ВКонтакте?
Российской Федерации. Потом, понимаю, вчера в своем пространном
Надо подождать.
сказал, что нельзя допустить, чтобы война закончилась капитуляцией Украины. От стратегического поражения России до капитуляции Украины, в общем-то, дистанция большая. Себе в себе силы эту дистанцию протянуть. Но что касательно даже нынешней ситуации с оказанием военной помощи и
нужно подойти ближе.
Соединенные Штаты, причем пауза объявлена в отношении предоставления разведывательной информации, тем самым подтвердилось то, что мы всегда говорили, что идет как раз от начала, что без прямого участия Запада, Соединенных Штатов, Британии,
без прямого участия Северной Кореи, Ирана и других союзных стран.
Применить это заклинание.
Да? Или это опять только
Мне надо 15 вопросов.
Еще у нас тут Песков также прокомментировал заявление Макрона. По его словам, Кремль оценивает вчерашнее обращение Макрона к нации как конфронтационное. Оно создает ощущение, что Франция ищет продолжение войны.
А ты не думаешь, что заявление Лаврова-Захаровой, что не будет уступок, это элемент торга, когда завышают изначальные требования, чтобы потом подвинуться по факту сделки, и еще чтобы не поднимать заранее недовольство зетников, что они слили войну?
Может быть. Это называется игра губами. Я не знаю. Посмотрим, что дальше будет. Крупнейшие страны ЕС не поддерживают предложение выделить 20 миллиардов долларов, точнее 20-миллиардный пакет помощи Украине. А кто не поддерживает? Вы не поверите, ребят. Германия, Франция, Италия, Испания и Бельгия. А вы думали, что там? Венгрия? Фейк? Я надеюсь, это фейк. Просто это уже не топор, это инсайдер. UA. Разве это не Франция выдвинула? Да я вообще не... Они там ёбтые все в этой Европе, блядь. Они выходят своими подписными губами, блядь, на камеру, говорят такие... Вот это вот надо сделать. Вот это, блядь, да мы там нахуй. Вот это, сука. потом где-то за закрытыми дверями, ой, вы знаете, что-то нахуй. Не будем мы Украине помогать, ничего не дадим.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Просто. Все, нажми на источник. Здравствуй, там порно вылезет. Да, я ебу, кто это?
Надо подождать.
А? Не знаю я. Непонятный источник, может быть это и неправда. Охуенный источник. Вы мне... Топор лайв. Плохой источник. Insider UA тоже плохой источник. Ё-моё. А уж какой хороший источник тогда? Я что-то уже не знаю.
Я пока не могу произнести это
Российские
заклинание.
переговорщики требуют, чтобы Украина вывела войска из всей Запорожской, Херсонской, Донецкой, Луганской области, которые РФ включила в свой состав незаконными референдумами. А еще что? Так я вот про это и говорю. Я про это и говорил. И про это тоже. Про
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Очень интересно, у нас все развивается. Тем временем, уже в ближайшее время Франция и Британия стремятся закончить разработку с Украины мирного плана для предоставления его США. Что там за план такой, я вообще не понимаю. Одним из вариантов, по данным анонимных источников, является частичное одномесячное перемирие, которое будет охватывать атаки с воздуха и моря, а также те, что направлены на энергетическую инфраструктуру, но не на наземные бои. Вы или заканчиваете сразу полностью, или этот месяц перемирия-то я не понимаю. Надо полностью, сразу навсегда. Давайте месяц не будем заниматься. Чисто по земле, что-то, а по воздуху нет. И что это даст? Что это?
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Ну давайте так. Хотя бы так. Ну а надо сразу здесь, сейчас. Сразу все прекратить сложно. Хотят посмотреть, будет ли РФ нарушать перемирие, например. Они хотят предоставить США, которым пофиг на все их планы, когда Трамп уже все решил. Так подожди. Госсекретарь США сказал, или кто там, что плана нет, идей нет. Никто не знает, как это закончить. В том числе и Трамп.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
И вдруг вот это вот сработает, и все. Плана нет никакого.
Надо подождать.
Сейчас, сука, кликают микрофонами.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание. Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Европа послала мощный сигнал Украине. Мы не
произнести это заклинание.
Да, сигналы у Европы, конечно, мощные. Сегодня говорят, мы спасем Украину, завтра. Европа в целом действительно способна победить в любой военной, финансовой, экономической конфронтации с Россией. Заявил премьер Польши. Европа должна в вооружении с РФ и выиграть ее, добавил он. Бля, не знаю, сильнее ли Европа. Не, ну может быть спустя 3 года, да, войны в Украине Россия ослабела, скажем так, да. Военный потенциал уже не такой большой. И может быть сейчас, я не знаю, но если Россия будет и дальше, соответственно, да, примет участие в этой гонке, скажем так, в гонке вооружений, то тут я уже не знаю, кто победит, Европа или все-таки Россия. Потому что не только же Европа будет перевооружаться в течение там следующих нескольких лет. Россия, я думаю, тоже не будет на месте сидеть. Тоже будет готовиться там к чему-то. США вроде, что США? Так что, ну, блядь, ну, все зависит от действий. А если этих действий не будет, как это обычно в Европе бывает, то и ничего не будет. Вот и все. Чем сильнее, в чем победит? Это будет ядерная война. Если будет война с Европой. Ну какая ядерная война? Сколько раз люди думали, что ядерная начнется вот сейчас, когда вот в Украине все началось. Когда ВСУ заходили там, я не знаю, на территорию России. До этого, когда они дронами начинали бить по России. Все тогда напрягались, думали, не, ну все, это что себе, вот это да. Ну и где ядерные, где ракеты? Они есть, конечно, но мне кажется, что если там, я не знаю, Россия, например, вторгнется в Европу, я не думаю, что ядерная. Может быть, до какого-то определенного момента. Может быть, когда уже там, я не знаю, войска Европы, Кремля или наоборот, российские войска уже там, я не знаю, придут во Францию, вафельные башни будут приближаться. приближаться, тогда, может быть, уже в этот момент все, будет давление этим ядерным оружием, да? До Берлина дойдут, ну, предположим. Но прям сразу ядерку никто не будет. Будут воевать. Будут воевать. Какое-то время. Европа готовится к новой холодной войне. Европа должна вступить в гонку вооружений с РФ, заявил премьер Польши Туск опять. Литва официально вышла из международной конвенции, запрещающей закупку, использование и производство кассетных боеприпасов. Хорошее решение, пишет какой-то ТГ-канал. Напомню, что эти самые конвенции писались для регулировки войны, чтобы она не скатилась в абсолютную. Как в мире Вахи, где только вот это сплошное граф, убиваешь, атаку все. То есть эти регуляции созданы для того, чтобы сильные могли легко их заклинание. Не говоря уже о том, что сильные далеко не все эти конвенции подписывали и относятся к ним очень избирательно. Это буквально завязывание рук. И Литва прекрасно понимает, что в Европе уже вообще-то не детская заруба. И весь этот детсад с регуляциями, ну ой, как не к месту. Молодцы, балт-красавчики, всегда радуют. О май гад. Тем временем Трамп считает угрозы для мира и безопасности в Европе кто? В Италии 58%, во Франции 69%, в Германии 74%, в Испании 75%, в Великобритании 78% считают Трампа угрозой для мира и безопасности Европы. Вот. Норвегия увеличит поддержку Украины в 2025 году с 3 миллиардов евро до 7 миллиардов. Пример, Италия предложила распространить статью 5 НАТО на Украину без членства страны в альянсе. Нихуя, что захотела. Окей. Даже ничего комментировать не буду. Слоник. Да, это заявление. Так,
я не готова применить это
заявление Макрона о российской угрозе, много неточностей и не упомянуто расширение НАТО. Макрон и Стармер скоро повезут Зеленского на поклон в Вашингтон. Макрон, обвиняя РФ в нарушении Минских соглашений, забыл упомянуть Оланда, который открыто заявлял, что не собирался их соблюдать. Из Парижа не поступало запрос на контакты с Москвой. Очевидно, что РФ не согласится на размещение европейских контингентов в Украине. То есть это еще и... РФ не может оставаться в стране и окажет Абхазии... Так, дальше тут про Абхазию. У Путина вечером 6 марта может состояться международный телефонный разговор. Интересно, с кем? С Трампом опять же? Так это сегодня получается. Администрация Трампа может начать делиться секретными данными с Россией. Какими секретными данными? Что это за секретные данные такие?
Мне нужно подойти ближе.
Ну, сообщает NBC, поэтому это правда. Может быть, что-то пакет какой-то. Реально. Слишком много всякого знают эти издания непонятные, да? Это анонимных источников. И если уж так вспомнить, да, анонимные источники читаем. Ну что-то из этого вообще происходит по итогу. Хрен его знает. Хрен его знает. Полена, ой, то есть нас, ай как просто у себя в таких выстрел. Кстати, а наши релаканты, бежавшие в США, уже переехали оттуда, чтобы не платить налоги ужасному Трампу, который внезапно оказался пророссийским.
Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
Хесус, поперечные остальные. Нормально вам своими налогами поддерживать человека, который топит Украину и унижает ее президента, каких есть.
Надо подождать.
Только я не понимаю, при чем тут налоги. И что, Трамп тратит бюджетные деньги на штат ленты Зеленского, или Трамп берет эти деньги налогов, да, налогоплательщиков американцев, и эти деньги Путину дает или отправляет в Россию на помощь. Ты что, вообще иди? Или что? Поэтому при чем налоги и действия Трампа по отношению к Украине? Что ты, вот, ну, как обычно, полено головой вообще не думает. Когда Россия, соответственно, да, нападает, так будет странно. И налоги этой страны с России, естественно, идут на войну, да? Достаточно, ну, 40% или сколько? И в данной ситуации, когда деньги никуда не идут, они остаются в Америке. Ты же никогда не говорил, валите из страны, иначе вы поддержите налогами. К чему это дает тебя? А я откуда знаю? И Поперечный этого тоже не говорил. Я, ну это Стас, ай как просто, понимаете? У него как все непросто. В голове мозгов нет. Говорят об этом другие, я виноват. Ну, как обычно, ситуация на Курщине крайне тяжелая. Возможно, пора сворачиваться с курского направления. Эксперт по связи утверждает, что операция уже давно оправдала себя, а на переговорах с Путиной не следует ожидать никаких уступок. Если ситуацию не стабилизировать, ВСУ могут быть вынуждены покинуть этот район. Военный канал сообщает о том, что Россия под полный огневой контроль взяла основную логистическую дорогу в направлении суши. И, возможно, в ближайшее время ВСУ придется выйти оттуда. И в общем и целом искусство.
Не сейчас.
Потому что ситуация сложная. Вот так. Так что не поторговаться территорией.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Эксперт? Ну, я не знаю, кто такой Флэш. ДСУ 95.
Я пока
вот,
не
поэтому,
могу
если
это
говорить про
выбрать.
территории, какие-то методы давления для переговоров, чтобы обменяться, не знаю,
Я
как,
пока не
какие
могу
территории,
это заклинание.
ну, даже если бы это было и 100 квадратных метров, предположим, Курской области, ну ты считаешь, что Россия не пошла бы на уступки? Типа, они бы сказали, да похуй на эти 100 квадратных метров, пусть их Украина себе оставляет. И Суджа стала бы украинским городом. Или как в данной ситуации? Ты так говоришь, как будто, ну, 100 квадратных метров, ну ерунда же, можно и забить. По-моему, это не так работает. Если мы говорим о дипломатии как таковой, и о способах как-то договориться или о чем-то. Думаю, часть Харьковской обменяли, ну не знаю я. Тем временем американцы платят за газ меньше, чем россияне. В 2024 году в регионах газ стоил $50-80 за 1000 кубометров, а в европейской части страны около $90, в то время как в США цена оставалась под $80. По информации СМИ, Газпром потерял более 40 миллиардов долларов в год после закрытия европейского рынка и компенсирует это ростом цен на газ для отечественных потребителей. То есть, подождите, то есть Европа отказалась, Газпром теряет деньги, и за это платят обычные работяги в России? То есть это, получается, интересно выходит. Я просто не знаю, там, кто газ использует в России. У вас там, ну, он в цене вырос?
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Последние 3 года. Это фейк? Те новости фейк. Я $1500 рублей плачу за 110 квадратных. Иди нахуй. 110 они. Короче, ладно. Не знаю я цены, какие у вас в России.
Чел, это все хуйня. Ты попробуй постримить 4 часа дома.
Вот тут согласен. Вот тут, кстати, согласен, реально. Вот тут согласен, да. Вот тут по факту говорит. Правильно, правильно, да.
Ты попробуй постримить 4 часа.
Реально. Что ебал, порчу. Держи, Маша. Ты сядь на табурет, на это кресло. Спина отваливается.
Это ты делаешь, это...
Реально.
Боже, это легче легкого, чел.
Это пиздец. Я в Майнкрафте, знаешь, сколько таким занимался? Вообще.
Ну не похуй.
Вообще похуй.
4 часа попробовал постримить бы?
Ну вот именно. Я вообще по 6 могу стримить.
Для можно говорить. Ну это элементарщина, йоу. Ну просто пока это киркую хоть, кому не похуй.
Это изи. Ладно. Шо? Вы с этим будете спорить, что ли? Китай против переговоров США и РФ без участия Украины и ЕС. Спецпредставитель Китая по европейским делам Лушае. И вот такая картиночка. Этот медведь уже заебался. За последние 2 месяца тут столько флагов было изменено. То здесь США, а тут Россия. То наоборот, Россия и Америка.
Хес,
то Китай и
привет.
Россия.
Китай чего? Я ничего не понимаю в этом мире больше. А что завтра будет? Инопланетяне с Марса за путь по заставке.
Китай, а что ты хотел? Китай-то на самом деле, они все 3 года не просто... Вы вспомните, Китай-то может быть и был как-то там на стороне России, но всегда вел себя очень осторожно. Очень. Это КНДР,
Надо подождать.
своих людей и так далее. А Китай нет. И даже недавно, когда было вот это вот голосование, там за что уже не помню, когда США даже на стороне России были.
Я не готова
Китай
применить
проголосовал
это
против.
заклинание.
Или нет, он вроде воздержался. Воздержался. Не проголосовал за, он воздержался.
Я
Поэтому
пока не
Китай-то
могу
на самом деле
произнести это заклинание.
Как на самом деле, как вам сказать? Демократия это на самом деле эволюция, и эволюция на самом деле это плохо. А эволюция это митинг, это на самом деле плохо. Его делать не надо. Поэтому демократию я не буду передавать привет. А Ярославу я доброму еще.
Чем сырок? Не, ну реально это парацетамол, я не знаю. Ну, пытался. Ладно, политолог нашего времени. Я считаю, что это он должен со стороны РФ договариваться с Америкой, с Украиной. Он должен быть главным в этой делегации российской. Вот. И если он там будет, то и война закончится реально очень быстро. А что? Сядет он за стол переговоров, скажет, война — это убийство. Убийство — это плохо. Мир — это хорошо. Все. И то таки, реально. Что за хуйня? Надо закончать. Хотя это логично. А вот то, что демократия, это... Что он там сказал? Ну ладно, да.
Мы не собираемся этого делать. Спасибо. Мы должны выбрать для себя такой вариант мира, который бы нас устраивал и который бы обеспечивал на длительную историческую перспективу спокойствие для нашей
Надо
страны.
подождать.
Нам ничего чужого не нужно.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
И нам нужен такой вариант, такой, который обеспечивал стабильность.
Я не могу использовать эту способность. Я пока не могу произнести это заклинание.
А Россия нет.
Мне нужна цель.
Президент России заявил, что страна не намерена уступать или отступать в конфликте. В то же время подчеркнул, что ничего в чужом не нуждается.
Надо подождать.
Но своих интересов нет. При этом это Зеленский не хочет мира.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
И тут Путин говорит, не отступим, не отдадим. А Трамп что-то как сказал, как прокомментировал. Это эфир 8 марта 2020 года. Предположим. Сейчас не поменялась риторика Лаврова, она абсолютно такая же, как и Путина, который недавно тоже это все говорил. Делаем ставку, когда Трампу объявят импичмент. Кто объявит? 2020-й, серьезно? Да я не знаю, когда это будет. 20-й, 22-й, 24-й, 25-й, 30-й. Не имеет значения. Макрон их нормально зацепил.
До сих пор кому-то не имется. Есть еще люди, которые хотят вернуться к временам Наполеона, забывают, чем это закончилось.
С такими ребятами не
Не, все-таки это новая запись 2020 года. Это он тут про Макрона.
Я не могу произнести это заклинание.
Расследование. Анастасии какая-то там, Виктория Кулька обратилась. Короче, касаемо Оксимирона, одна из этих жертв, которую Оксимирон там, ну вы поняли. Короче, она обратилась в ВСК и прокуратуру с просьбой проверить действия Ахимирона.
И нету ни одного
заявления, рэпер начал с ней общаться в 2008 году, когда ей было 15 лет. В личной переписке он отправлял сообщения интимного характера и порнографии. В 16 лет на концерте она подверглась сексуальному насилию с его стороны. Опять же, да?
Самое главное, мисс
Некуда класть.
Обуз кривой хуйни
в личной переписке он отправлял всякие интимные вот эти вот моменты, да? Она после этого все равно пошла к нему на концерт, после этого она еще пошла к нему в гримерку, да? Опять же, исходя из этой переписки, он ей буквально предлагал в гримерке это сделать, и она пошла в эту гримерку после этого, соответственно. Короче, так или иначе, если он реально общался с малолеткой, это хуй полная. Но мне непонятны действия этих малолетних, которые этим занимаются. По данным базы, адвокат планирует инициировать отдельное разбирательство Великобритании, который является мировым судом. Если 16 было по обоюдному, то какие вопросы? Ну, тут предъява в том, что с 13 лет он с ней общался. И подростки великобритании. Так запретите по закону, блядь, с 16 лет этим заниматься. Что за хуйня? А тут, если амбаюнда была, то как в смысле, блядь? Можно что угодно тогда заявить через 15 лет. Запретите, блядь. Секс только с 21 года. Все. И никак. Кто согласие или нет. Нельзя. Просто законы же есть. А по закону у них обоюдно была на тот момент. Она, конечно, может что угодно сказать. Нет. Ну нахуй приперлась в гримерку, если он тебе предлагал это изначально. Нюберг просил доказательства у авторов расследования, но они отказали. О, а почему они отказали? В этих самых доказательствах. А в чем проблема? Что, сложно доказательства? Наоборот, на руку
Я
им.
пока
То
не
есть той
могу
стране,
произнести это заклинание.
предоставить доказательства. А, уже дали? А где? Можно посмотреть? Доказательства были? Какие? Там типа переписка, но не полная. Даже полную переписку прочитать там всякое. Хорошо, это все ладно.
В этой сумке
Оксимирон-то
нет
что
места.
сказал вообще? Оксимирон тоже никак не комментирует, молчит. Это тоже странно. Почему молчит? Окси от рака умирает. Ну, были слухи, что он болеет. И он реально болеет, но по поводу рака пока ничего не понятно. А он закрыл комментарий. Он дис пишет. Блять, ну ему придется ответить за это. Че он ждет-то? Ну ладно, может готовиться, я не знаю, к какому-то ответу жесткому. Так, сейчас, Нюберг. Как у него называется ТГ? Короче, девочки, кто меня смотрит? Прошу прощения. Нет. Пока вам не исполнится хотя бы лет 20, ладно? Чтобы потом вот этих проблем не было. А то через 15 лет, ну или там, я не знаю, в течение этих 15 лет после этого, как это произойдет, вы будете ходить и жалеть об этом, возможно. Что какой-то мужлан поломает вам психику или еще что-то, я не знаю. Вот. Оно вам надо? Так, хорошо. Я получил верификацию вот этого сообщения напрямую от одной из девушек. Оно настоящее. Этот долб в 23 года неиронично называл себя Папа Окси. Так.
Надо подождать.
Детка, ты выполнила задание на 5 секунд.
Слишком
Ты меня
далеко.
зажгла. Появилось очень сильное реальное желание. Так, окей. Это правдивое сообщение, значит.
Я
Значит,
пока
не
не
фейк,
могу
реально.
произнести это
Честно.
заклинание.
Ну, ок. Подожди, он это написал 15-летний. Вот это. Это заказ от властей. Без вариантов. Хорошо, может быть, предположим, это заказ от властей. Но история-то правдивая, если Нюберг это подтверждает. Его взломали, Хес. Кого? Нюберга? Нюберга тоже заказали. Ну я его понимаю, потому что жизнь в Америке дорогая. И Нюберга тоже купили. А, представляете, реально. Это оптом нахуй заказали все. Кроме меня. Как никто не приходит заказывать. Представляете, вообще, ни одного. Вообще. Так, и что тут у нас дальше-то? Ну, с культурой факт-чекинга твиттерских расследователей надо что-то делать. А что такое? Это сторис авторки подкаста про Мирона. Скриншоты для меня не выглядят убедительным доказательством. Блин, я сочувствую.
Чего?
То есть она считает, что скриншоты должны быть убедительным доказательством? Нихуя. Хорошо. Важное уточнение. Это сообщение папа Окси писал Вике Михайловой. Ей на тот момент было 15 лет. Она не только не спала с Мироном, но и не виделась с ним вживую. В этой истории также фигурирует Вика Кучак. Сколько там этих Вик? Это та, которая обвиняет его в груминге. У них был секс, когда ей исполнилось 16. Это разные девушки, у каждой из них своя история. Тогда она могла напиздить, что ей было 16. Не, ей реально было 16. Может быть, она ему напиздила, что ей 18, но это вряд ли. Вот. Груминг — это когда котов стригут. Эти слова ваши вонючие, дуберские. Груминг какой-то придумали.
Не могу достать.
Риминг, может быть. В те времена был рингтон. Или гроулинг. Или роуминговый. Ладно, это все не смешно. Меня еще отменят, как братишкина в ТикТоке девочки.
Я не готова применить это заклинание.
Шугарин. Ой. Может, Окси не любит мох, а у 16-летних его нет.
Слишком далеко.
Не, ребят, вот надо заниматься. Шутить над эту тему вообще не очень. Так-то тема серьезная, реально. Приятного полета! Только что была забанена на Твиче. То есть Ксюшу, у которой был конфликт вчера, или когда, позавчера, с братишкиным, заблокировали на Твиче на 7 дней за, знаете что, разжигание ненависти. Это что такое? Это как так? Это какую ненависть она там разжигала? Она дефала вроде женщину себя на стриме, да? То есть как бы Twitch, я не знаю, может быть Twitch уже под Трампа лег, а Трамп, как говорят некоторые, такой достаточно, ну, человек, скажем, ну, мужлан тупо, да? И все. И она задефала женщин, соответственно, ну и Twitch такой, до свидания же, woman. Но невероятнее всего. У нее партнерки не было, блин. Тогда это фанаты братишкина, видимо, репорт накидали, да. Она там договорилась, что прям ненависть была, что ли? Что-то я сомневаюсь. Я не могу себе представить, чтобы какую-то ненависть разжигала. Это мне предъявлять, что я тут ненависть разжигаю, межнациональную там и так далее. При этом за 3 года ни одного бана. Что могла Ксюша сделать? Она там что?
Нужно подойти ближе.
Надо отправить.
Не могу достать.
Или что там было? Она радикалка, ее Люха. Тогда вопросы я к мобилу. Она сказала, что женщинам не запретят ненавидеть мужчин, если не ошибаюсь. Что? Не понял. Она сказала, что любит мужчин. О, это банда. Короче, блин, не знаю, вы хуй теть какую-то. Я просто не смотрел, что она там говорила, поэтому я не знаю. Но бан дали на 7 дней, за разжигание нет. И это, конечно, трэп. Я в шоке. Переговоры США и Украины по остановке войны начнутся во вторник в Саудовской Аравии. Итак, да, мы переходим к главному на сегодняшний день. Переговоры США и Украины. США и Украины по остановке войны в Саудовской Аравии во вторник. Причем без Зеленского, естественно. Они будут договариваться. Украина и США возобновили работу. Надеемся, на следующей неделе состоится содержательная встреча, заявил Зеленский. Ну вот, на повестке встречи США, Украина в Саудовской Аравии будут основы сделки по урегулированию войны и 6-месячное перемирие. 6-месячное перемирие. Уже не 1 месяц, уже 6 месяцев перемирия. Спецпосланник США по Ближнему Востоку Мейдж. Что за 6-месячное? Ну ладно.
Надо думать уже, если станет такая ситуация, о всеобщей мобилизации, собрать примерно армию, пару миллионов, поставить их всех в такую позу, из которой они никогда
только лучшие товары. Кого в позу поставить? Армию? Они и так там в не очень хорошей позе.
Никогда. Либо они заткнутся.
Подожди, Лаудинов заявил, что для России не проблема мобилизации 3 миллионов человек для разгрома НАТО в Европе. Она даже рассматривает возможность всеобщей мобилизации, чтобы собрать такую армию.
Либо они действительно потеряют даже то, что у них есть. И после того, как они захотят с нами схлестнуться, Европа и большая часть европейских государств перестанет существовать как таковая. А блок НАТО и так и сяк распадется, потому что Америке не нужно. Уже война с нами, она им не нужна.
Все, Америка наши слоны, да? Все, против Америки не воюем. Оставим Америку в покое. Трамп понял, что не вывезет против России. Поэтому сливается сейчас активно. С НАТО выходит, не выходит прям сейчас, планирует, может быть нет, может быть да. Вот. Просто как бы на будущее уже готовится. Пусть там эта Европа сама разбирается. Ой-ой-ой. 3 миллиона. 2 миллиона мобилизовать. Да. Уже представляю, как США без колебаний пойдут в банк в вопросе санкций против энергетики РФ. Если это поможет привести к прекращению огня в Украине. Глава американского Минфина Бессер. Поняли? В Мурманской области представители Единой России подарили мясорубки матерям военных, погибших на фронте. На акцию единороссов к 8 марта обратила внимание активистка. Мясорубка. А чего они такие довольные, счастливые? У вас там муж погиб. Или кто? Ну да, получается. Ой, муж. Мать. Сын погиб на войне. Это стоят, улыбаются. Да. Полярные зори присоединились к акции «Цветы мамам героев». В Мурманской области стартовала всероссийская акция. Она проводится по инициативе женского движения «Единая Россия». Акция охватывает 15 муниципалитетов нашего региона, точнее. Исполнительный секретарь, «Единая Россия» Анна вместе с представителем фонда, и главой города поздравили с 8 марта матерей, чьи сыновья погибли при исполнении воинского долга в ходе СВО. Мясорубка, я вах. Да. Ага. А в США. Вот есть человечина и США. А в США. Вот есть
слишком далеко.
Как я одного только убил? Одного? Браво. Почему мне рекомендуют одни и те же видео?
Nationality, I think that this is... We will take a political compass test. So here we go. Before taking the test, please note this isn't a survey and these aren't questions, they're propositions. The purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Don't look at chat during it. I'm not gonna... What's my opinion on this one, guys? Guys, I'm gonna read chat. I'm just gonna vote the way I fucking want, though. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do it. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. I do strongly agree on this, but I want to go with agree instead of strongly agree for some reasons, because I think that usually this is an emotional argument, because transnational corporations often can serve humanity as well. In the same way, it's like corporations say the government doesn't care about you, and then the government says corporations don't care about you. So, like, I don't necessarily think that, and like these corporations are also comprised of people. So I do think that this is a little bit of a, I don't know, like it's a little sus to me, but okay. I'll always support my country, whether it was right or wrong. No. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud about it. I disagree with that. I think it's totally fine to be proud about the country that you were born in. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, the problem isn't pride, it's superiority. It's the difference between patriotism and nationalism. Everybody knows that. Don't they? I mean, fuck. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. I think that I know what they mean by races. Okay. No, I don't really think that's the case. No, I don't think so. There's plenty of people that are good at all kinds of different things. I think also, like, as soon as you start, like, getting into, like, statistics of, like, oh, well, like, this group of people is, like, taller, or, like, has a higher IQ, or anything like that, you dehumanize people. Because people are not a statistic, they're not a group, necessarily, they're individuals. And so I don't like thinking like this. I think it's unhealthy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there like a depends here? Yeah. Shouldn't there be like a depends? Like, I don't really know what... I don't know how I would answer this, because, like, I think generally this is true. But it depends on how it's true. I think this, yeah, it depends on the enemy. It depends on the situation. It depends on the power of the enemy versus the power of the enemy of your enemy. Yeah, this is a stupid question. I don't like this one. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. I don't know. I don't like this word justified. I don't. I will say disagree. I would say actually just normal disagree, not strongly disagree. You know, and it depends on, like, what the law is. I don't know, because, like, martial law, yeah, because it's like, who writes the law? Who decides whether something is justified? It's all subjective. Like, for example, I bet the Japanese probably didn't like the fact that we dropped nuclear bombs on them, but we're justifying it. So like a man wrote international law. God did not write this. This is not the Ten Commandments. So like I don't know, man. Your opinion of Justified? Yeah, it's my opinion of Justified.
Я не готова применить это
It's a gray area?
заклинание.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Agree? Thank God. Okay, there's one that I can just click yes on and move on.
Произнести это заклинание.
Okay. People are ultimately divided more by class and nationality. I definitely agree. Nationality, I think that this is... It's true and it's not true. Like, for example, I think that this is more true with, like, us and Canadians versus us and Saudi Arabians. Because, like, it's just a totally different culture, totally different world. Like, yeah, we probably might have more in common with somebody in a different social class than somebody in Saudi Arabia, but I think that a lot of poor people, you know, like, given, like, the same general type of, you know, social economic status, like, if you talk to a poor person in Poland or Russia or India, you will probably have more in common with them if you're poor than if you talk with a rich person of the same country. I think that is true. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment.
Ну что это за лаги ёбаные, блядские, нахуй?
I completely agree with this. I absolutely agree with it, because I don't think that you can control unemployment, because we're going towards a position of, I don't think that people will be able to expect to have a job in 30 years, because so many things will be automated. So I don't think that controlling unemployment is a problem fundamentally. I think that the problem is not controlling unemployment, it's controlling people being able to survive. So yeah, because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment. It's not that they cannot be trusted, it's that they can be trusted to violate the environment, because they exist to make money, not to help the environment. And to the extent that they do help the environment, it serves a greater goal of making money. But don't forget which one, you know, the dog is the money, the tail is the environment, okay? The dog is wagging the tail and not the other way around. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. This is a quote from Karl Marx. I don't know, because you use the word fundamentally. Because, like, whenever you say fundamentally, you're talking about idealistically. And so, like, and also I think many people have said that communism is a great system for robots. And so, like, whenever you talk about a fundamental thing, are you talking about an ideal? Are you talking about a functional? It's very hard to say. So, is a fundamentally good idea? I agree. I do agree. Because that's why we have scaling taxes. And I agree with scaling taxes. So yeah, I agree with this. Now, I don't agree with it to the extent that Karl Marx does. But I do agree with it. It's not a strongly agree, but it is an agree. The freer the market, the freer the people. A free market can only exist whenever it's being controlled. Because the first thing that a person does whenever they have a truly free market is they control it. Why would you allow a free market to exist if you can price fix and scam people and then make the market not free and make more money? Like, we've had every single problem with this. Like, we've already gone through this like 10 times. What is this? I do think that if you want to talk about an idealistic free market, I'm going to go with agree and not strongly agree. I am a massive free market advocate, but I think that the idea of a free market is only maintained by threat of force by a governmental entity, or like some sort of like oversight. Free markets are a terrible term. I think that they are too, and they're often misused. It's a sad reflection of our society. Some of these basics, drinking water, is now a bottled, branded consumer product. This is a literal, like, fucking art. That's so ridiculous. The drinking water, like, yes, this is true in the case of Nestle and the way that they fuck up other people, other countries. Sure, yeah, absolutely. But are we really talking about that, or are we talking about people who bottle water and then they have it at an airport? Like, for example, right? So if you have if you are providing a product, it's like that one fucking Australian guy that was talking about water being more and less expensive depending on where it is. Well, bringing it to that location is a value. And so that's why they're doing it. They're bringing it to that location to create value. So it's not really the drinking water that is the consumer product, it's the availability of drinking water that's the consumer product. So I disagree with this. I think it's stupid. Land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. I disagree with this. This is fucking stupid too. Of course it should be. Now, and again, it's like everything about this is like, there's like 50 other buts and, you know, like asterisks, etc. Terrible asthma taste? Yeah, no, of course you should be able to own land. Of course. Because if you can't own land, then the idea of people not owning something is fake. Everybody has owned everything for all of time. It's just the way that that ownership is enforced. It's regrettable that so many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I completely disagree with this. I think this is a take from somebody who doesn't understand the input and the way that stocks work. Whenever you are investing in a company, you are empowering that company to make more money, and then you get more money back from that. So no, I think this is a ridiculous opinion, and you're also risking it as well. You know, if you don't pay real estate tax. Well, I'm just saying, like with this, how is shorting ethical? Well, we're talking about manipulating money. There's a lot of different ways that you can manipulate money. Are we talking, and this is the problem, right, with a question like this? Are we talking about shorting stocks? Are we talking about, you know, people that are literally doing like currency trading? Are we talking about people that are, you know, stock trading? Like, it's very hard to say. Why are you reacting to the statements as if you're debating? Well, I'm verbalizing my internal thought process of how I'm going to answer a question. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm just talking about how I'm thinking about the question. I'm not debating it or anything like that. I'm just talking about it. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what? The shorting argument that somebody made in chat, I do agree with that. I think that's a good point, that there are examples of that not being true. So, like, I think that this is generally untrue, but there are examples of it being true. So, yeah, I will change my opinion. That's good insight. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. I do agree with this. Absolutely. I wish that in some cases we had more of it. That way, maybe some of our companies wouldn't be taking advantage of slave labor. I totally agree with this. Let's see here. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. I completely agree with this, but so this is true, but I also have a different viewpoint on the way a government should exist. Like, I think that a government should be accountable for taking care of the people and not the company at all. Like, I think that the entire mindset that a company should be responsible for taking care of a person is ridiculous. The only responsibility? Yeah, I think the government should be responsible for that. Let's underscore the word only here. Social responsibility should be only to deliver a profit. Well, let's think about another social responsibility that a company should have. The safety of the product? Well, that's a regulation. The environment? Would you view pollution as a social responsibility? I'm not sure if I would. Like, I don't see it that way. It affects everyone, so yes. Okay. So if you include pollution, I absolutely disagree. If you don't include pollution, I absolutely agree. Like environmental effects. Like what I'm saying is that whenever I think about this, it's like, should a company take care of its employees? I don't necessarily think that that should be the responsibility of a company. And I think that offsetting that responsibility to a company is just setting society up for failure. And I think we're seeing that happen now with all these layoffs. And I think that we'll continue to see it happen even more. It should be the government's responsibility. Environmental responsibility is 100% social responsibility? Okay, sure. I don't see it that way, but I can see why people think that. Sure. Or at least, like, maybe I can see why people are saying that. I just didn't see it that way myself. I do disagree. If everybody says they're including, like, environmental stuff, then yeah, I would change. Current responsibility should be enforced to save workplace environments. Exactly, right? So it's like, and this guy's post is like a very good point and like an example of like kind of like where I think that there's a bit of dissonance. Because like I think the government responsibility should be enforced to save workplace. And so it's not really it's not the corporation's responsibility. It's really just the government's responsibility because I think the corporation will never do it. And also, a corporation can never be held accountable in the same way. Rich are too highly taxed. Strongly disagree. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Sure. Yeah, I totally agree with this. The problem is that those with the ability, without the ability to pay, should still have access to a standard of medical care. The problem isn't that rich people have access to good medical care. The problem is that poor people don't have access to good medical care. Or any medical care. That's not the issue. Government should penalize businesses and yeah, absolutely. A genuine free market requires restrictions. I've 100%. This is like, bro, anybody who's played an MMO knows this for a fucking fact. Absolutely. Why disagree? Why do I? Oh, I might have clicked the wrong one, but yeah, government should penalize business. Yeah, I strongly agree. Agreed, yes. Yes. Okay, all this makes sense. You had strongly disagree in the social question? Oh, because people said that I didn't see social responsibility. I viewed social responsibility as how they affect the culture and not the environment. Because it's like social responsibility, not like environmental responsibility. That's like in my mind. The rich question? The rich are too highly taxed. I disagree with this. I think that you can... I think the amount of money that I pay as tax is completely reasonable. If they made me pay more, I would pay more. Now, I'm not going to do it unless I have to. But if they made me pay more, then I would. Sure. I mean, and I don't ever have a problem with that because like I used to have food stamps, right? Now, how did I get food stamps? Because some guy that made money paid money for me to have food stamps. And now I'm paying for some other loser to sit at home playing video games and get food stamps. And maybe one day he'll get a job and pay for the next loser to sit at home all day on food stamps. That's the circle of life. So yeah, no, I agree with you. Okay, next. Abortion, life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I strongly disagree with that. Like for example, if somebody gets raped, like is this a good thing to have a girl, you know, carry a baby to term because it's raped? What about whenever the baby has like a life-threatening illness that's going to kill it as soon as it's born? Is this a good thing to have the kid? No, it's disgusting. It's adding insult to injury. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. Eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I also strongly agree with this. If you don't have people treat you like this, if you don't treat people like this, they'll keep taking all of your eyes. I think that you absolutely should show yourself to be dangerous because if you don't, then people will take advantage of you. Revenge? Well, it's not revenge, it's accountability. Would that involve the military too? In some cases, yeah, absolutely. It also makes the world blind. Exactly. And if you're going to make the entire world blind, then if you're willing to do that, then people will be less likely to fuck with you. And that's why I agree with it. Does that make sense? Window for a window, yeah. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums. That's ridiculous. I completely fucking disagree. This is awful. Yeah, I totally think that, like, I hate the idea, and this is even something I've talked about before with, like, college, is that I don't disrespect in any way. Like, there obviously, like, there are bullshit degrees, and yeah, if you have a degree in philosophy, you're probably not going to have a good time getting a job. But college and museums and theaters exist to further, like, the human body of knowledge. They're not meant to make money. That's not the goal. It's education. Yeah, like, what the fuck? Of course not. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I strongly disagree. If you can't show up at school, you're probably not going to learn shit. And I'm talking about, like, in like, you know, grades like kindergarten through 12th grade. I think that you absolutely should be expected to go to school. I think that going to public school, I would never say it should be mandatory, but if I had a kid, I would send them to public school, even if I had $1 billion, because I think that the ability to work with and interact with and understand people that are of different social standings, different economic standings, different cultural standings, and being in what I would say is pretty much the closest thing to a melting pot you're going to have in your whole life, unless maybe you go to the military. This is a tremendous advantage that people that go to public school have, or can have the opportunity to have. And I feel like I've learned a lot in having to deal with people that I might not necessarily like or agree with. Like, going to public school, in a lot of ways, teaches you how to find common ground with different people. And I feel like unless you're put in situations like that, you end up finding different ground with common people. If that makes sense. Advantage depends on where you go. Definitely does. And I'm sure that people have had bad experiences in school, but I absolutely would want to have my kids go to public school. All people have their rights. It's better for us, but it's better for us all. The difference between people seem to their own. Good parents sometimes have to spank. Completely disagree. If you have to hit your kids, you're also a kid. Gorillas do that. Monkeys do that. Animals in the zoo do this. If you have to resort to any sort of physical violence to have your kid do anything other than self-defense, you are a bad parent. And you are teaching your kid that you should solve problems with violence. Spanking is not different. It's the exact same thing. It's disgusting, and it should never happen. And the only reason why parents do that is because their kids don't respect them because they're bad parents. Asian parents do that? Asian parents don't do that. White parents don't do that. Black parents do that. Bad parents do that. Nobody has a monopoly on being shitty. My dad spanked me? Absolutely not. My dad never hit me at all. And I never, like, went against them or really just, like, get mad at me for it. My dad was a sergeant in Vietnam. He had multiple combat instances. He tried to go back to Vietnam after they sent him back. He tried to sign up for Desert Storm even. Like, it's not like he wasn't capable of violence. Like, he's on painkillers now because of how much violence he had. He never hit me. Never. His parents hit him, and it made him hate his parents. So he didn't do that to me, and that's it. Not even to smack? Never. Never. Not even grabbing me by my arm? Never. And neither did my mom. Is your back? It's a bit better. It's a bit better. Continence handling is more important. Yeah.
О!
Yeah, that's my opinion. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Fuck this. Strongly agree, absolutely. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. It shouldn't be an offense at all. I misread it. Yeah, strongly agree, I mean. Yeah, it shouldn't be offense in any capacity. The only time smoking weed is bad is if you're selling it to kids or if you're operating machinery or a car whenever you're high. Other than that, it's totally fine. And I don't smoke weed. I never have, I never will. Also, don't smoke the devil's lettuce. Is that right? Oh god. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs.
Это заклинание. Надо подождать.
I want to say I strongly agree. I do. I really want to say that I strongly agree. School has never done that. Bait question? I think it's a bait question as well. Yeah, I think this is an agree and not a strongly agree. The reason why is because I think that schools should do that, but I don't think that you should, like as I said, I don't think people in the future will need to have jobs. Every single person should not be expected to have a job in like 100 years. So it's a very contemporary opinion. And so I don't think that they should exclusively do that. But yes, of course a school's primary function should be to equip the next generation. Because what is, so like finding a job, really like finding a job, what is finding a job? Finding a job is generally finding a meaningful way to contribute back to society. And should the primary function of schooling be to equip a future generation to contribute back to society? Absolutely. It's not even a question. Let's see here. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly disagree, because who decides on that? Most important thing for children is to learn to accept discipline. I disagree. I don't strongly disagree, because I think that it's important to accept discipline, but is it the most important thing? No, it's not. I don't like that. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. I completely disagree with this. There are cultures full of savages and animals. They exist right now. There is no cultural, what's the word for it? What do people use? Cultural, like, relevance? Not relevancy. Whatever the fucking word is. I'm not going to be able to get past this. Relativism. Yes, relativism. Cultural relativism is bullshit. It's not true. There are inferior cultures. They are worse in every, maybe not every single way, but they are observably worse in certain specific ways. And there are certain